Hello, everybody. Welcome to Unscripted Access, episode number 91. You're here with your host, Nick McCandless. On this week's show, I also have Bronson Fiore.
I've talking with my mouth. Oh God.
Anthony Ta.
Hey, you should all go play Transistor. It's really good.
All right, and Anthony Ta.
I am so tempted to make a terrible joke right now. Yeah.
Do it.
I mean, I don't even know if it's very funny. So we're probably all aware of Seagate's slogan from a year and a half ago, right? Beginning of 2013. Okay, so I just bought a 2 terabyte hard drive for my desktop computer because, well, 500 gigabytes can't hold anything when you're doing this much 1080p media like we are doing now, since, you know, Xbox
Next
One.
gen.
Yeah, next gen is here. So, and I already have a Seagate SSD in there, so I took out the Western Digital drive, and now my computer is exclusively powered by Seagate for storage. And the first thing, the first thing that came into my head when it was like my computer just got pimped up by Seagate hard drives the last 6 months, and it's like storage for life, homie. It's just like. I just imagine myself just saying that in front of people, like if it was an E3 conference, and I'm just like, man, that would be the dumbest thing in history.
Why am I reminded of Yusuf from the Ballad of Gay Tony?
I don't know.
I could see him saying that, then and have money. And just,
yeah, it's
what
like
the fuck?
Like I'm just thinking, like, I just pimped up my computer with Seagate storage hard drives for upgrades the last year. Like I got an SSD last November, and now it's got a new 2 terabyte hard drive. Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Whether it's actually
now you're
reliable.
going to E3 sponsored, and now you're going to E3 sponsored by them. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Let me put this out there.
I bought a Seagate external. And it's just like I'm buying a product from a company that is sponsored us. It's like the coolest feeling.
You know what? Freaking my backup drive is also from Seagate, and I swear they did not pay me to go buy their 2 terabyte hard drives. It's just I was in Best Buy and they just had a sale. Okay, so I got it for like $90 with after tax. Okay. I swear they didn't pay me to go buy their hard drives. I just needed storage, and Western Digital didn't have a good solution. What Western Digital does is they take one of their green line of desktop hard drives, which is like has variable rotation speeds and stuff like that. It's not very fast, and they just
the green line's not good. It's their black line.
Yeah. But the black line is like $150, $160. So what Western Digital does to combat Seagate, to compete against Seagate in Best Buy and stuff like that, is what they do is they take one of their green drives, charge $100 for it, and put it in a box that says mainstream, which they didn't bother changing the sticker. And I'm just like, I think, well, you have to understand the average consumer doesn't know the difference between what green and black is, other than black is faster, but it's a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
And it's like Western Digital has a little bit of a weird way of doing their hard drives. They have colors. You have blue, green, red, purple, and black. That's the 5 colors they have right now. And if you're not a computer enthusiast, you probably don't know what they do. All of them specifically do. So we just took their green drives and just put it in a plain box and charge you $100.
Just know that if you can afford it. Just know that if you're going Western Digital, while Seagate has very good options, if you're going with Western Digital, if you can afford it, go with black.
Once you go black, you never go back. I had to say it. I had to say it.
Oh boy. And you know what? That's one of the hard drives that used to sit in my desktop computer. It was a Western Digital.
See, Western Digital, hire me for marketing. See? That just came out of my head right now. What can I think of what I'm actually like?
Wouldn't that be awesome, working for Western Digital as you're sponsored by Seagate?
Okay, yeah, but the old hard drive.
Western Digital, I need to take a week-long break from work because I'm going to this event sponsored by Seagate. Bye.
I'm sure you'll love that.
Yeah, so the old hard drive in my computer was actually a Western Digital Caviar Black, that back when they actually had Caviar for their desktop line and Scorpio for the laptop line. That was a very good drive. Only problem I had with it was that they are noisy because it's kind of like a high performance engine. They have a lot of power, but they make a lot of noise doing so. Same idea. And the Seagate drive I have so far, very quiet. As far as reliability, man, every hard drive, no matter what, it doesn't matter whether it's Seagate or Western Digital, every time you go on the internet, you read like 20% of the reviews all say, oh, my hard drive showed up dead, this hard drive showed up dead. And it's coming from both sides too, so you can't really tell who's more reliable, you can't tell who's unreliable, other than the Western Caviar Blacks are not.
Well, that pretty much tells you the fact that it's from every company, that's not the company's fault. It's probably it either wasn't packaged right by whoever's shipping it and it got dropped off a truck or dropped however many feet, and that's probably why it's bad. It's based off shipping conditions.
Well, that's kind
of like a PlayStation 4. A lot of people receive their PlayStation 4 and their hard drive is bad because of how it was shipped. Amazon can ship their things in this huge freaking box so that the console could just go flying up and down because, I mean, I've never worked at UPS or FedEx, but my dad used to work at UPS when he was in college, and he told me of how they treat packages. They just chuckle. Like, there'll literally be someone in the truck, there'll be someone down there, they take the box, and they throw it up there. And they'll drop it half the time. They don't care. They expect you to package it right.
Well, that's just freaking great because it's just great. Yeah, it's just, every time you read it, like, hard drives are really fragile things. So that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely.
They're very fragile. Like, yeah, so they're pretty fragile things, and I don't know, just to hear it be broke, like, it's not just hard drives being broken, like bad sectors this, bad sectors that, this is broken, that is broken. Oh, this company has a worse record for reliability. This company has a worse record for reliability, and it's just kind of like, And then I start reading stuff like, check your serial number. If it's got this particular digit at this spot, your hard drive is bad. It's good. You've got a bad hard drive. You got a poorly designed. You are being lied to if you buy a hard drive with this serial number on it. It's just kind of like, way I see at Western Digital and Seagate, they both kind of like do this. Because I start hearing things about how Western Digital is taking a blue drive, which is their average normal hard drive, and rebranding it as a black drive with their 1 terabytes. And then you've got Seagate, where you say that they're selling 2 versions of the hard drive with the same model number. One has a 2 platter, which is the good version, and one has the 3 platter, which is the bad version. So it's like, it's just kind of a bit ridiculous when you're talking about hard drives, because it's like the only way you can be certain about your drives is you buy a SSD from a good brand like Samsung or Intel, or if you buy a Western Digital black, that's like, or like a 2 terabyte black or a 4 terabyte black. It's like, those are like the only hard drives you can seem to trust that doesn't have some shady story behind it. Anyways, yeah.
All right, so
but anyways, like the 2 terabyte drive, put all my media stuff on it so far, and it's very quiet. The only thing that concerns me is that when you power it up for the first time, or when it wakes up from sleep mode, it makes like a bit of a dial-up noise, which is kind of funny and a little worrying, but it's very quiet. Runs very well. So, yeah.
Alright, so let's go ahead
Storage
and move
for life.
From hard drive. Let's go ahead and move on from hard drive, and let's go into the news. So the first news story is a new PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3 model has went through the FCC. Now, we've seen this several times with new PlayStation 3 models, new PlayStation Vita models. They have to submit the console through there in order for them to sell it. Now, the number change, this has been recognized for, I believe it was Indonesia. Yeah, so in Indonesia it was noticed. So rather than it being a model 1006, it's 1106. So it's not obviously a complete model change where it starts with a 2, because usually when PlayStation's done that in the past, it's like a complete revision of the console, such as the PlayStation 3 Slim, and then the revised PlayStation 3 Slim after that, and then the PlayStation Vita remodel, etc. But so when Sony's done this in the past, for example, with the PlayStation 3, it was when they took their 65 nanometer graphics chip and took it down to 40 nanometers. So it's kind of interesting. So there's also a new model for the PlayStation 3. but it's also a small upgrade. So I don't know. What is this something that we're going to see come to America? And what is the real difference?
I don't know. They probably just shrunk chip size down or did something small. Like I don't think it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, but you think they would have done that already? Like,
yeah.
4, it seems kind of early to do that.
Well, here's the thing, though.
Anything to cut costs, man. Like, these things are fucking expensive, and, they're making, like, a $20 profit on these things, ish. But, like, any more...
But that's the thing, though. That's actually really good, because PlayStation 3, they're selling for $600, and they were still taking a loss on it at that price. So, for them to be able to sell the console at a profit, like, brand new for them.
Yeah, but like the PS3 was filled with crazy asinine future tech. This thing, everything in the PS4 it's pretty standard. Like I mean, nothing inside the PS4.
Pretty much a customized PC.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it's not even a super high end one. It's like it's a
it's got like laptop grade parts in there. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and I mean, when you granted, like, when you optimize for that and only have to develop for that spec, you're going to get, equivalent to its PC counterparts as far as running on high settings, at least for now. But, so I think they found something that, like, okay, maybe they can make a little more money off of it, and they're probably going to do that. I don't think it's going to be, like, first off, that thing is really tiny already. It doesn't have a power brick. It doesn't take up much space. And realistically, I don't think you can make it much smaller without fucking up, airflow. So I don't know. I think it's going to be
I honestly think if this does come to America, they're not going to see any physical changes. It might be something very minor on the board. Some change, like I said, to make it more affordable to produce. Sony's not even going to announce anything. It's just going to come out. It's going to be the same packaging, whatever. You're not even going to be able to tell a difference.
Yeah,
you can't tell a difference. Yeah. You can't tell a difference unless you open it and look on the inside. Because
I just don't see this being something that we should really be concerned about. I mean, yeah.
It's just like one of those tweaks that they do on the inside to make things better. Like, here's like a pretty good analogy. For example, let's just say that you fix something. Like, let's just say you're swapping out some particular part on the engine of a car. Let's just say that. Let's just say you're an auto mechanic and you swap out some particular part in your car. So the first time you do it, you do it like the long way because you want to be very thorough and you want to follow step by step and you don't want to break anything. You don't want anything to be broken. So you do it the long way, the expensive way. But if you keep doing the same thing over and over, you realize, hey, maybe I don't need to unfasten this bolt here. Maybe I can do it this way and save myself time, and it will still be as good. No bad shortcuts have been taken. It still does just as well, and I just save time and money. So I feel like the same thing is happening here. Like, over time, you find out, hey, maybe we can get the exact same product, except only on the inside, it's a little more efficient, or it's a little cheaper to make, but still has the same reliability. Like, for example, yeah, sure, you save only $10 when you make this revision, but you think about it, that's $10 across millions of systems. That's a lot of money saved right there. So, and so it's the average consumer, they're never going to know this. Like, I recently bought some tools to open up my PS3 to, maybe dust it, because it's been quite a few years. And when I opened the PS3 up, I noticed that the Slim that I had is different from the Slim that the pictures that were showing me how to disassemble it had. Different heatsink, didn't have any cheap tape, which was interesting. Had a different Blu-ray drive connector, even. So, and mine was like, what was it, like the 2500 model of the PS3 or something like that? And I think the one they were doing was the 2000 one. So, they do like that, saves a little money, and, there's nothing really wrong with it. It's not like the system is more unreliable, and, it allows them to sell the system for less when, say they have Black Friday sales. They don't lose as much money.
Yeah, and then those Black Friday sales, like, so fun fact. So retailers, when they sell consoles, like they make like $3 on them. Like the considering how much retailers sell those things for, it's ridiculous how little they.
Well,
make.
yeah, they don't make their money off the consoles.
Yeah, no. In fact, they don't
They
even
make
that much
their money off the service plans, the accessories, and the games they sell with it.
Accessories have a huge margin profit. Games
yeah.
Games only have
games. When I was looking at Best Buy, games are usually making about $10 to $15 on.
When I was at
accessories, they could be making, say, especially if they're store brand. Like for example, Best Buy, they have Rocket Fish and Dynex. For example, with those, with the like Rocket Fish, like a freaking $60 HDMI cable costs Best Buy like $4, or like a Rocket Fish game controller they're selling for $40 costs them about $12. That's where they're making their money.
Yeah, oh man, I'm trying to think of like what else, like I don't know, that like the Black Friday sales, they make nothing on those consoles. Like they're hoping you buy other shit with it. That's
actually, I kind of think the mentality is that you show up to a Black Friday sale, realize that what you're looking for isn't there, but then of course since you're already there, you might as well look at other things, and you end up buying something else, which is how they which is how they earn their money. Is that what you're looking for isn't there, so you end up buying something else.
Yeah, and here's another little secret about like Black Friday, and sometimes you'll see like ridiculous TV deals where they'll have like a $2,000 TV, and it'll come with a free Blu-ray player and a free this and a free that. Just a little secret about this, and I know this for a fact because I worked at Best Buy and know about this stuff. So a lot of those deals, the store loses money on when they sell. Like out the door, they automatically lose, but they get a kickback from the retailer based off of how many of those they have sold. So I'm sure with Black Friday deals are very similar, where like let's say this Black Friday Sony has a PlayStation 4 for $350 and it comes with a game, for example. Best Buy is going to lose money every single console they sell, but they're going to pay Best Buy back at the end of the month based off how many they've sold.
And then
they also for Black Friday, it's all about like I said, I worked at Best Buy, so I know like pushing the service plans on people, getting them to buy the accessories they need for the stuff they're buying.
Dude, fucking, just like, hey man, you buy the warranty, buy the warranty.
Yeah,
buy the motherfucking warranty.
Like, here's the thing,
hey man, you want to buy this? You want to buy this Edge card? Buy this Edge card.
Like freaking, here's the reason why. Like I remember that when they used to do this. I don't think they do this anymore because I don't remember them asking me. But I remember when I would buy a game, they would say, hey, do you want a game protection plan on it? Well, here's the thing. If you read the inside of your game manual or something like that, you would know.
Year.
Yeah, your game has like a 30 or 90-day warranty for that disc.
A lot of them some of them are even a year.
Yeah, like they sell you those protection plans, but what people don't really know is that your disc actually comes with a warranty. Yes, it is more annoying that you have to ship your disc to that company, have them look at it, and then ship you back a disc, which takes far more time than just driving to your store and just getting a new replacement right on the spot. Same thing with a laptop. Like, would you like a 1-year protection plan for your laptop? If there's anything wrong with it, we will completely replace it. Whereas the average warranty plan, which is they just change out the broken part, which
Anthony, can I interest you in an Edge card? 10 per, or sorry, Power Ups reward card. Fuck, I hate that they changed the name. Fucking changed it right during training too. God.
I already have one.
But if you buy the premium one, you get 10% off on all used games and accessories.
Are you serious? There's actually a premium one now.
There's a pro one, yeah.
There's the free there's the free one, and then there's the pro one.
Which they keep telling you that if you sign up for the pro, you get free, quote, free, quote, free subscription to their Game Informer magazine, along with more trade-in points and more points earned when you buy stuff.
GameStop is the only reason why Game Informer is still in business.
So
yeah.
I'll say this: Game Informer, like I keep an edge card around because I buy enough games to where those points actually add up, and I have bought some cool shit from them.
My problem has been that they haven't had anything cool in a while.
You get like Zelda hats, T-shirts, figures, posters, shit like that. You know, just kind of cool nerd shit. Like they had one of my personal favorites was they had this like the helmet from Skyrim.
Yeah.
They had one of those, except it was like a beanie. Was I guess the best way to describe it. Yeah, that was neat. Yeah, I don't know. Like they got some cool stuff on there. Like right now they have. So we all know about Claptrap from Borderlands, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They this would eat up all the points I currently have saved up, but it is Claptrap in a tuxedo.
That's
Figure
awesome.
of that. He's in a tuxedo with a top hat and a mustache. And I'm like, that would look amazing on my desk, but do I want to burn 19,000 points on that? That is the question.
Yeah, to be honest, like, I haven't checked the website in months now, but the last time I looked, they didn't have anything that I cared about. Well, so it was just like...
I mean, so this is what I've kind of noticed, yeah, anything below 5,000 points is usually garbage. Like 5,000 to 10,000, you can get kind of coolest stuff, like keychains, lanyards, posters. I have a Final Fantasy poster in my room. That's what I got it from. I know that they had a really awesome Last of Us poster. If I didn't already have like a billion posters in poster tubes, I probably would have got it. Like right now, here's one. I know, Nick, you're a Gears of War fan. How about COG tags? Real life COG tags, bro.
I got those at E3 one year, though.
Those, yeah. Yeah, see, so there you go. I don't know, like, I think for $15 a year is not any money. Like, even to someone like me, that is not any money at all to really worry about. And Game Informer is nice to have when, like, at my job, I'll have downtime, and we're not allowed to pull out electronics. So having that around to read is nice. And stuff like that. And, those rewards points, like, over time, they add up. Like, especially if you're like me, where you bought 2 consoles in a year, from them. So...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's not a bad program. The fact that they just push it so fucking hard is why everyone hates it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. Last Black Friday, I went to GameStop because I wanted to get a PlayStation bundle. They had the Last of Us bundle paired with Batman Arkham Origins, I think. So I come in and this guy was really enthusiastic, which I'll give him credit because one, he's
hold on. Which guy was it? Because I know a lot of people that work.
I don't remember. I don't even remember what he looked like. But I just remember I came in and I'm going to give him credit for that. The fact that he was really enthusiastic for his position, considering it was like freaking 5 a.m.
Well, we have to be, like, unless you're like me, where you're organizing the shelves.
Yeah, but no, he was more enthusiastic than most of the people working there that I've seen.
Okay.
So, I come in and I'm just like, he's like, is there anything I can do for you today? There's only one PS4 left, and straight away he's trying to sell me the PlayStation 4, and it's like right in front of me. They placed it on that counter right behind the main counter where you buy your stuff, so it's it's placed perfectly, so that way, just looking at it, you want to buy it already. Because it just come out, okay? Like, freaking, this thing could sell out. Everyone's buying a PlayStation 4, right? But I'm just like, no, I'm just here for the PlayStation 3 bundle. So he got me PlayStation 3 bundle and then proceeded to ask me a lot about other things that I want. Oh, do you want some spare controllers? And I'm like, I'm good. Do you want some more? What games are you interested in? I'm just like, just the games in the bundle for now. Do you want this? Do you want this? And I'm like, sorry, no thank you. And I was being so nice about it too. And then when I showed him the Power Up Rewards card, he you know, he does.
You want to upgrade? You want to upgrade? Pro, baby.
he gave me a free Game Informer magazine, as kind of like a way to, you know, if you like this magazine, like it's kind of like one of those, it's just kind of like one of those freebies that they give out and say, like, if you like this magazine, you can certainly sign up, right? Just give a free issue. And
like that magazine, like Game Informer is not like super great, but like I'd say once every other month they have a really good article where I'm like, okay, that's, you know, that's all right. But
when I look at it, yeah, but the Game Informer, it's kind of like, do I want to pay $15 a month just to get some really awesome artwork? Because they have some pretty cool covers. Because, well, let's be honest here, you're kind of like the only gaming magazine left out there, and probably not that hard. It's probably not that hard to get a game company to design a really awesome Game Informer cover for your game. Like the one I got is for the Order 1886, which looks kind of cool.
I have like a giant ass stack of Game Informers from like, I've been a pro member since 2000, whatever Game Crazy went out of business, and I had to start going to GameStop more often. And I have very much considered like taking those covers and like making a wallpaper out of it. Because there's just I have so many of them. I'm like, that'd be kind of cool just to see all these fucking like all these, awesome game art everywhere. I don't know. That's one thing I've thought of.
And yeah, so he kept trying to sell me stuff, and then by the time and then of course it did actually remind me that I actually did need one more thing, and so I bought a used Connect.
I have a question. Your bundle came with Batman Arkham Origins, right? That PlayStation bundle that you gave. Okay, because
I have yet to play it though.
You should play it. Like, first off, have you finished this city yet? Arkham City?
I got stuck and gave up after about an hour in.
Oh, okay. You should first off, you should finish Arkham City, and well, actually, you should just go straight to Origins, because Arkham Origins is an okay game. It's not as good as Asylum or City. It's still a good game, but it has this. It ended up being one of our top 3 most memorable moments. And I feel just because that game didn't get played by a lot of people, it's not going to get enough credit. But there is about a 20-minute scene where you play as the Joker in that game, and it is fucking amazing. It is so goddamn good. It is it was worth playing through that entire game just for that scene. So,
okay.
So, which that actually segues to our next topic. Hey, new Batman trailer, guys.
Yeah, yes. I actually watched it.
That game, it was cool. I mean, they said gameplay trailer. I was yes, it's technically all in engine, but I was really excited to actually see actual gameplay, like what it looked like if I was playing the game, which there really wasn't any of that. But it definitely intrigued me. I saw Two-Face in there, which got me super excited. Dude,
it looks so pretty. It looks so pretty. Like, the first thing I've been wanting to buy more games on PC, and I was like, I might buy Batman on PC. I'm not sure if this will run on my PC. It looks gorgeous. I'm a huge Batman fan. I've read I love all the comics. I love the movies. Batman, when I was growing up, there were 2 superheroes I loved. It was Batman and Spider-Man. And for some reason, they decided to keep just ruining Spider-Man. Just Spider-Man, I don't know why.
I'm thinking of seeing The Amazing Spider-Man 2 soon, just for the hell of
it. We should go after E3. That is what I'm saying. Because that, I kind of want to see it too.
We could go see it while we're at E3, because we technically have some time before the event actually starts.
That's true.
I have a movie theater that we can really walk to from my own apartment. I have 2 theaters we can walk to, actually.
Okay, yeah, there we go. But I thought this trailer, it looked beautiful. They didn't show much gameplay. The only stuff that looked like it was from the player's perspective was like a couple of the Batmobile clips. But how fucking awesome is it that you get to drive the Batmobile now?
I hope the handling isn't atrocious.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we get to see this game at E3 because I have heard people who went to Rocksteady and got to try it. Like, you'll be driving the Batmobile and then you can eject out over a building and then call it and land in it. Like, that just sounds fucking ridiculous to me and awesome. Because I really liked Batman Arkham Asylum. I loved Arkham City.
Arkham City is awesome.
And then Arkham Origins was good. It was good. It just it didn't have the magic, and that makes sense because it was by a different team. But this looks like it's continuing off there, and I like the fact that they're using two of the best villains for this, along with creating a new one. They're using Two-Face, Scarecrow, and then this new villain, the Arkham Knight. Which, that's, I don't know. Are you guys excited for Batman?
Oh, of course. When I saw the trailer, I saw Two-Face, I was like, yes, I've always wanted to play Batman with Two-Face in it.
Supposedly, if you pre-order, you can play as Harley Quinn, which I don't know what that's all about.
That's weird. But,
also...
yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to seeing what it plays like on the next generation consoles. I'm actually in the process. I contacted Warner Brothers today, so I get some set up with them at E3.
The actual rumor is it's supposed to come out on my birthday.
That would be awesome.
That would.
Well, I thought they announced when it was coming out.
No, they didn't. They just put coming soon, but the rumored release date is October 14th. I'm a huge Batman fan. If that were to happen, I would be so geeked. Oh my god. I would just be losing my fucking mind. Oh god. So, yeah, that's speaking. But another announcement that came out as far as new releases go. Anthony, would you say SingStar is a game that our friend group will always remember fondly?
Well, I don't know about the fondly part, but yeah, we'll definitely remember it.
Well, guess what? I was right. Sony London. Bringing it to PS4, and if you don't have microphones, you can use your smartphone as a microphone.
Wait, how did they do? Wait, Bluetooth your phone to the PS4 to do that?
Yep. And
that's interesting.
And my wish has been granted. 2 of my wishes for this game. Any movie that can be in HD is in HD, as far as the music videos go. Because that was a problem on the PS3. They didn't do that shit. It was obnoxious. And all your DLC carries over.
I'm telling you, Bronson, they freaking listened to the podcast and they formed this announcement based off you.
I'm so happy about that. I was the only person who cared about this. I realized that. Anthony, when this comes out, we are inviting like everyone in town we know over. I'm so happy about this. Like this is gonna be the best.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Sony showed a brief demo of it during E3. They'll bring out one of Sony music artists to perform.
If they have it on the show floor, can we get footage of us playing it?
Please. Awesome.
Damn it. It's gonna be like what was it, like Dance Central at PAX East? Was it like 3 years ago?
Yeah, that was Yeah, 2 years ago. 3 years. Me, Aaron, and
Brittany.
Well, yeah, me, Aaron, and Brittany. But with Dance Central, it was just me versus Hip Hop Gamer, which that was a classic. But then with Rock Band?
Rock Band. You guys played Rock Band. You guys played Rock Band with Alex Navarro. I remember that.
Yeah, and then me and Brittany were singing, and then Aaron was playing the drums, I believe.
Yeah. So a couple more announcements about SingStar. It's gonna have full Facebook and Twitter support. So Nick, every time we throw a party and play this game, you'll get to see all the lovely videos.
That's awesome.
Not only like all.
This is gonna be something that's gonna. I'm calling it right now. When this game comes out, it will be the most broadcasted game over live with PlayStation for probably a couple weeks.
Oh, absolutely! Like I'm so excited. Like when the original came out on
And
PS3.
I also call it right now. I guarantee you, someone becomes like a celebrity because one person will be a celebrity for how bad their singing is, and I guarantee you, one person will be like found and then like signed to some record label based on how
So
good their
you know
singing
what
is.
the song in the trailer was, right? It was "Call Me Maybe."
Oh
So
gosh,
I think
I'd
that
love to see Bronson performing that.
I you got it. If they have it at E3, we'll do it. We'll film the whole thing. I will sing "Call Me Maybe." Oh my god! But someone has to do it with me. So Kyrie or Anthony or Bremen, I don't care who. It'll probably be Kyrie. But oh my god,
That'd be an
Nick.
awesome duet.
Oh god, I'm so excited for this game. Oh my god. Like once again, I feel that the people who give a shit about this game just such a small audience, and it's mostly Europeans. But still, also I found the weirdest fact that apparently the SingStar games total altogether over the past 10 years that they've existed have sold 26 million copies.
Not bad.
That is not bad at all for a karaoke game.
Very
Well, to
well.
be honest,
It's pretty big in Europe.
it is a karaoke game that features all of like the biggest hits, and it isn't actually what you call boring though.
What was it? The game that Microsoft tried to come out to compete with
Lips.
Lips.
It wasn't as good. And one of the things that SingStar did that Lips didn't do is SingStar had camera support, so you can post clips to the internet. And one of my
I wouldn't
favorites.
be surprised if also during Microsoft's press conference we see like a SingStar competitor. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, one of my favorite parts of SingStar on PS3 was going into the Hall of Fame section of the upload server and just seeing hilarious shit. Like, there's this song called by the Scissor Sisters called "I Don't Feel Like Dancing," and someone got in a Chewbacca costume and just danced. Another one is this big black dude dancing to MC Hammer. Like there's some really quality stuff on there. Actually, the original SingStar is actually free to play on PS3 now, and it'll accept any microphone. So I mean, if you have, you should check it out. But this is coming to PS4. I'm so fucking excited. You have no idea. God,
I am very interested in what the song selection is. So we know "Call Me Maybe" is going to be there. Gundam Style is going to be.
Oh, that has to be like that has to be right. Like
I mean,
you would.
it freaking died out. Like it just died out.
It's
like,
all about
really
what
fast.
deals they can make.
So I think you can guarantee that the top songs in the past 5 or 10 years will be on there.
Any hits from a Sony artist is like a sure one because they just make a deal with their own within their own company.
So one thing that bothered me about there are certain songs that never came to SingStar or came really late. Like they still don't have "Let's Get It On" by Marvin Gaye on there. Like the fuck? Why is that not on there?
I don't know.
I think there's a reason why they don't, because that probably, I don't know if the game would pass with a T rating with that song.
Well, DLC doesn't like matter for that, so I mean that's why. But I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, they have a lot of suggestive songs on there. I mean, for fuck's sake, they have "Toxic" by Britney Spears, which you watch that music video, dear Jesus. There's footage of the internet of me singing "It's Raining Men." Yeah. So that's a thing. I don't. Ah, man, I'm super jazzed for this. It's E3.
Here's the thing: is that the last time we did SingStar, which was for 60-minute access, I had a bad throat, or a throat that was getting increasingly worse, and the fact that I was singing, I believe, in a thing called "Love," made it worse. And then 2 days after that, I got really, really sick.
Well,
yeah.
At least it was for a good cause, right?
I hope so. The good cause of entertaining our 20,000 viewers out there.
I mean, a lot of people liked it. Like, we got comments on that one, so I mean...
I'm surprised people, like... Actually, it's a pretty good question. How much of it did you actually watch before you clicked it off from how bad it was? Because you had about one or two or... maybe, if you're stretching it, 3 people that could sing, and then you had at least 2 or 3 that couldn't. Yeah, that was interesting.
Oh, man. All right, so do we got any other news?
Yes. Moving along. Ferguson. You guys don't know who he is. He's the studio manager for Black Tusk, Rod Ferguson. He kind of did this video this week and pretty much almost confirmed that they're working on Gears of War. Now, this has been rumored forever now. Black Tusk is working on the next generation Gears of War, but he went on to like show this like environmental artwork piece, and it was blurred out, but it looked like a type of setting you'd see in Gears of War. And then he made a comment saying, "I'm just grateful to have a community like Gears. There's just nobody like you guys." So I mean, at this point, I mean, if Gears of War is not announced at Microsoft's press conference for the Xbox One, I will be flat out shocked. Like, I would be beyond shocked.
Like, Gears of War ended in such a way that I just didn't want the, like... This goes back to my number one problem with Microsoft. They won't let a franchise go.
Because
just
people
let it go.
People say that they're done with Gears of War. It's crazy. They bought Gears of War for a reason. So... I don't know. I'm excited to see what they can do, but my faith in it's just kind of not there. Just from the standpoint of Cliffy B's not involved at all, and he's the whole reason why Gears of War was the success it was. And then when he bounced out during the last Gears of War. The last Gears of War it was by far the worst by a long shot of the franchise.
We didn't even talk about it. Like, Gears 3 ended up in our top 10 games of 2011. Gears of War Judgment, we didn't even talk about it.
Right.
Like, that says everything. Like,
yeah, it's like Gears of War Judgment cut.
Oh, God. And Gears of War 3 ended in a way to where I was kind of like, okay, you don't need to make any more of these. Like,
but Microsoft, they'll always find a way.
No, I know, and it's like, fuckers, stop.
But prequel,
like, Sony
but stories in between.
IP. Nintendo changes their stuff enough to where it feels fresh, and it's just like Microsoft will not let fucking just anything go. Like, nothing. Like, holy shit, how many Gears of Wars do we need? Like, Gears of War ended in a place where I was like, you know what? That's good. I am fine where that ended. You do not need to make more of these.
Microsoft, I think, is doing a pretty good, from what you're describing to me, sounds like Microsoft is doing a pretty good job of fitting of what they want to be as the biggest blockbusters, right? When you think about it, in movies, what are the biggest blockbusters? Spider-Man movies, comic book movies, Transformers, stuff like that, right? And
but even new movies are doing really well. Pacific Rim did amazing. I mean, there's a ton of movies.
I know, but really as far as the ones that get like the huge marketing support that everyone just knows, I don't care about.
The big thing now is Godzilla too.
Yeah, like stuff like that, like the biggest blockbusters, like Pacific Rim. Yeah, that's pretty cool, but that's kind of like
and the
occasional.
The thing that bothers me about the biggest blockbusters is, in films and in games, they're rarely the best. And in fact, especially in games recently, the more I play games recently, the more I have been not connecting with the big blockbusters. Like, Transistor and Wolfenstein and Watch Dogs are all coming out within the next week or already out. And the one of those that I am connecting the most with by far is Transistor. And I think the reason is because the more you try and make a product for everyone, the less it speaks to anyone. And the less it feels like a vision that was this was artistically crafted and not a product for sale. And that's part of the reason with part of the problem with the newer Spider-Man movies is they don't feel like a piece of art or a piece of entertainment. They feel like a Excel spreadsheet for the Spider-Man franchise for the next 3 or 4 years.
There certainly is another extreme to that too. Whereas if you make a game that is 100% conformed to your viewpoint, you will be the only person in the entire world who will like it.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's kind of, that's the extreme of this case. You've got mass. You got like mass mainstream where it tries to appeal to everybody, but doesn't. But it's not like something that can be loved.
Yeah,
or
it's all
has a
about
following.
fun in the middle. It's all about fun in the middle ground.
And
Yeah.
like, I think it's just about finding an audience. Period. Like I know that we bring up Dark Souls a lot. Like Dark Souls is a very niche title when you think about it, but it has a huge following. Those games got a big following because they spoke to they had an audience and they spoke to that audience, and a lot of people ended up liking it or growing to like it. And it's not like it is, it's not like Call of Duty, which is a game that, like the first Call of Duty, I'm talking Modern Warfare, not like the first World War II one, even though that was a great game. Like the first Call of Duty was very much a game that spoke to a lot of people in a way that resonated, so they continued going along with it. I think there's a reason I kind of am starting to sway towards indie games in a way and smaller titles, is because you can see a very specific vision there. Like when I play Gone Home, it's like, okay, you wanted to tell a very specific story here and have this have this targeted at maybe a very specific group of people, probably people who grew up in the 90s, and preferably people who were teenagers during the 90s. But I really liked that game, and it spoke to me in some interesting ways. And it surprised me in some ways too. I don't know. The more that you try and appeal to a huge audience, the more you kind of have to break it down even further and say, okay, well, we want this to be family friendly, so there can't be much violence. We want this, and that, and I don't know, man. It's weird.
It's very hard. Yeah, it's very hard when you try to market, when you try to get as many people, because let's be honest here, humanity has a lot of opinions.
Well,
a lot of opinions, and many different preferences, down to what type of food you like, what color do you like. For example, actually, here's car analogies. Here, for example, what is the car color that appeals to the broadest, well, I wouldn't say appeals, but is tolerable by the largest amount of people out there? Gray. Some shade of gray, whether it's a light silver, a black car, or a silver car. It is the least offending color, and therefore it is the color that reaches out to a biggest amount of people. Which is why so many luxury cars, when you look at their commercials, they're always painted in some shade of gray. Now, what about red cars? Yeah, some people like, yeah, I'll drive a red car, but other people think, oh, it's red, the police will see me. How about a lime green car? Well, first off, it's obnoxiously bright, and there's some who think, well, the only color that I would ever drive a lime green on is a Lamborghini. So, it's like something as basic as color just kind of shows how, if you want appeal, you paint it gray. Gray doesn't offend anybody. Gray is really boring, and gray has absolutely no passion, but gray does not hurt anybody. So, there you go.
And this is, and I think this is part of the, Square. We talked about Square Enix complaining about Tomb Raider and the sales of Sleeping Dogs and a bunch of other games last year, and this year they released Bravely Default and it did really well. And it really is all about releasing a game that appeals to a specific audience and making it as good as possible. Because there just aren't enough games that are going to be the Call of Duties, the Halos, even the Uncharted that resonate with millions and millions of people. The Warcrafts, there just aren't that many games that resonate that way. And I get that every publisher wants it to be that way, but it's just not going to happen. And I know we talk about Atlas a fair bit. Atlas knows its audience. Atlas knows, we made niche titles that are, and we're going to make them on a tight budget, and we're going to make them as best as possible, and we're going to appeal to that audience. Like, we're not going to try and, be the Call of Duty. That's, like, and I think that is the secret. Like, we always talk about, like, game budgets are getting too rampant. Developers are losing money left and right. And publishers are losing money left and right. It's because they're not playing it. Like, they're all chasing Call of Duty, or games similar to it. I know, like, I'm not sure if you guys watched it, but it was that recent Jimquisition where it was like there are 3 games in this world that exist to a lot of publishers. Clash of Clans, Call of Duty, and I forgot the other one he listed.
Candy Crush.
Candy Crush. And that's just... I'm glad you watch that show as much as I do, Anthony.
Actually, I check it every now and then and just catch up.
Yeah, and it's not about that. Like, it is about making a Dark Souls or making a Persona or even making an Uncharted. Like, an Uncharted has a broad appeal, but I know people who don't like Indiana Jones, and Uncharted is contemporary Indiana Jones. That's what Uncharted is. Like, there's no way around that. It's like yeah, I don't know. Publishers, like, for people who make and are responsible for millions and millions of dollars, at times it seems that publishers are mentally retarded. Like, that's the way it comes off sometimes. Like, I don't know. Like, I think it's shown on this staff, right? Like, especially during some, like, Game of the Year awards, when we are a staff of, at any one time, we have had up to 8 people. And how often do we agree on our, like, go look at each individual top 10 list, right? Like, I think that says it all. Like, like, I like games with a lot of energy and, that are all about kind of being fun or weird and a little bit of old school in there maybe, but with a lot of polish. Like, Nick kind of likes a more action-based blockbuster. Like, I have trouble describing yours, Anthony. Like, what would you say your style is?
My style is a game that I can get through and finish, not very grindy, and has a great presentation. Like, great music, great art, something like that. At least that's what I think, because I've noticed that I really, really, really hate grindy games.
Yeah, so and I think Aaron, it was a case of, like, he just has weird taste because he likes Devil May Cry. Like, not the old ones. He does like the old ones, but the new one. Like, we've gone over this before. I still don't get it. Like, that one.
I think we went through it already last week. Let's not go into it anymore. By the way,
it's so upsetting.
By the way, why is Assassin's Creed 3? Why?
Oh, why is Gears of War above Catherine? Like, what is wrong with this?
Oh, come on, that's to me. It's like, yeah, Catherine could technically be an amazing game. It's just not. It's not my type of game. So it's like, but like Devil May Cry, like people who like Devil May Cry were disappointed with the game.
Yeah, like that. Like and that's a perfect example. Is that game spoke to Aaron? I don't think it spoke to many other people, but it did speak to Aaron. So I mean.
You make it sound like Aaron has gone crazy when you put it that way.
This is a perfect example of how art is weird. And, you can talk about objectively bad writing and filmmaking in games. I don't think Devil May Cry is, from what you would call an objective standpoint, bad, but I don't think it's necessarily good either. Like, Gears of War 3 is a great game. I reviewed it. I gave it a 9.5. I absolutely enjoyed it. I just prefer Catherine. Like that was very good. But yeah, like that's. Oh man. I don't know. What's everyone's favorite game of this year so far?
Into the Second Son.
Yeah, that one right now is second for me, behind Donkey Kong.
How about you, Anthony?
Did I play a game that came out this year? I know there's Donkey Kong Country. Here's the problem. This year has felt really, really dead to me, because it's like, I don't have a PlayStation 4, or, I mean, like, Titanfall. Okay, so Titanfall, I only watched it. I actually didn't even play it aside from the tutorial. For some reason, I just didn't care about it. Infamous, well, I don't have a PlayStation 4. Xbox One stuff, don't have an Xbox One. I haven't bought a single game that came out this year yet, which says that I have absolutely no interest in this year for some reason.
So this year for me has kind of been weird, because I've liked, like, the games I've really liked. Like, I really liked Titanfall, and I really liked Infamous, but there just hasn't been a lot of them. You know, like so I get, like, I think it's very much a case of, like, okay, I like what you're making, but it's just hard for me to. It's
love
just, there's not a lot.
Love it,
yeah,
right?
like Metal Gear Ground Zero, like if Metal Gear Ground Zeroes was a full game and not a demo. I mean, that's, like, we saw that, like, I mean, it was a demo for the Phantom Pain, which I'm really excited for, and I mean, the gameplay in that was awesome, like all the new stuff that Snake can do, but it's a half an hour long. If you do all the side stuff and play around a bit, it's probably 4 hours total. And just, yeah, I don't know. I'm really liking Transistor so far. So, like, that was one that kind of spoke to me. What else has come out this year? Yeah, Watch Dogs is out next week. I'm not particularly super excited for Watch Dogs, but I know a lot of our audience is. Like, I don't know, what is your guys' vibe on Watch Dogs? Like, everyone was, like, flipping their lid over that game, and just, I didn't get it. I still don't get it. Like,
yeah, people are flipping out because it doesn't look as good as it did at E3 when they showed it off 2 years ago, and how PlayStation 4 is supposed to be 1080p, 60 or it might have been 60 or 30, but it's not running at 1080p. It's ridiculous. But I mean, I'm looking forward to getting my hands on it. I just have a feeling with Watch Dogs, it's not going to be, it's an okay game. It's either going to be I absolutely love it or I absolutely hate it. But hopefully it's on the better side.
Like, it's coming off as kind of like future Assassin's Creed to me, which I think the concept of that is cool, but the Assassin's Creed games to me have just, like, I haven't really loved any of them besides 2 and 4. And 4, it was all the parts when I wasn't Assassin's Creeding. It was the parts when I was pirating. Like, every person I've talked to has played Assassin's Creed 4 is like, man, that's a great game when you're not playing the Assassin's Creed part.
Yeah.
Like, that, like, everyone's like, that pirate shit is awesome. So, that's actually something I want to say. There needs to be more pirate games in this world. Why are there not more pirate games?
It's probably a concept. It's probably because it's a concept that's hard to. Like, we think pirates are really cool, like plundering ships and, waving your cutlass around, but imagine trying to actually make a good, viable 20-hour pirate game.
They did! It was rad. Like, it was a lot of fun, all the pirating missions.
Maybe because being a gigantic company, their focus group says no one really cares about pirates aside from Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
I don't know the answer to that question, actually.
The next Assassin's Creed is French Revolution, and I'm just like, that is a really cool point in history, but you guys are probably gonna fuck it up.
The Revolutionary War was also a really cool point in history, and what they did with Assassin's Creed 3 was make it a giant mountain of wasted potential.
Yeah, like, and I think this is the team that did 3, so I mean, I'm not exactly jumping for joy over this.
Hey, speaking of Assassin's Creed, there's going to be 2 games that come out this year, I heard.
Yeah, there's going to be the next gen one and the old console one. So that'll be interesting. I really like, when I say I like an Assassin's Creed game, it kind of means something, because the first game came out and I thought it was boring and overrated. I thought the second game was good, but it controlled like shit. I didn't really play too much of the spin-offs, so I can't really speak for them. And then Assassin's Creed 3 was a giant pile of fucking garbage. So
I call it wasted. I call it wasted potential because
okay, let me say that so there is a big difference though. I played the PS3 version of that game, and oh my god, like the fucking fog and the frame rate and just like how did this make it past QA in some cases? Like I got yeah.
I played the PC version, and here's what I basically thought about it. First off, looks very nice, very pretty. But then again, I'm on the PC version, so obviously it would look great. So I didn't exactly see any frame rate problems. I mean, probably the smoke was kind of annoying. And what else did I like about it? There were a few really cool moments, like brief highlights. Let me call it that. There are brief highlights where they're like, "Ooh, that's really cool." And then there is the massive mountain of mediocrity that ensues. For example, hey guys, let's go up to some trees and hunt for some feathers.
Whoa. Well, it doesn't help that Connor is just by far the worst protagonist in this entire series.
Connor is, oh my goodness, what did Connor, like, here's something I've learned. I don't like Lightning, I don't like Max Payne, and I don't like Connor. Why don't I like all three of them? It's because they all carry this I'm pissed off constantly and have an attitude and need to, settle a score or, prove something. They always have this one-dimensional personality. In the case of Lightning, it was always like this one-dimensional personality of saving her sister and hating everything. And then the one time when Lightning does smile, it looks creepy. Okay, even the start of 13.3, when, you and I were watching parts, I thought, yeah, that's the Lightning I know. Still one-dimensional, still a monotonous voice, not much interesting. But when she smiles, it's creepy. Same thing with Max Payne. If Max Payne suddenly sat down and started having a beer at a bar and start smiling, I would be creeped out because my image is this one-dimensional personality.
So, I could picture, Max Payne, I could see why someone would like Max Payne. I could get that, especially if you're talking about the old games, not as much the new one. But
Mentally scarred.
I thought it was a pretty good game. I thought it was a solid 7.5, 8.
Oh, I'm talking about the character, not the quality of the game itself. I thought the game was fine. It wasn't bad. I agree, 7.5, 8. But the character himself, I don't get why, I get why. I do not get why you would like Connor. He is terrible.
The case of Max Payne, he's always complaining. Constantly. It's so tiring. Because he's always bitching about something. At all times. And it's just like, oh my goodness. And in the case of Connor, it's like, okay, first establish that his parents are dead. That's what they do with heroes, right? Establish that the parents are dead. Establish that this child will be mentally scarred because his mother is dead. And now he has a reason to go on revenge mode, except he's so much of an ass being in revenge mode that it's like, dear goodness.
What is worse about that is you play as his dad for the first 3 hours, and his dad is such a fucking boss and such a cool fucking character and kind of a likable character. So start playing as him, and he's terrible, so bad. And it's like, why was this decision made? How did this decision get made?
Maybe if it was a book, it would have been fine. If it was a book. But Connor still, but that still doesn't solve the problem of Connor being really one-dimensional. And it just, man, when the only mood that you have is constantly being angry and whining, it's not very likable. I mean, you think about it in real life. Do you really want to hang around a person who constantly is pissed off at everything all the time? Not to mention, it's a bit unrealistic too. All the time. I mean, I don't even know anybody who does that, who's pissed off constantly and it's constantly plotting revenge and stuff like that. Like, I don't know anybody who does that. Maybe if you turn on the TV and watch those crime shows, you will find one. But
I mean, so one that I wanted to like, and then you compare that to Edward from the newest one, where he like his backstory at the start of that game is his wife left him because he's incompetent, and he decided he's gonna go be a pirate. And you're in the middle of a pirate battle when this assassin betraying the Templars comes and gets injured, and you're like, well, I'm gonna steal your shit. I'm gonna steal your weird little assassin uniform and go do whatever it is you were gonna do. And then he's just all about getting rich. Like I'm just like, that's all you want to fucking do is get rich. It's great. It's awful. If I met Connor, I would be like, what the fuck is up with this guy? If I met Edward,
met Connor, he would be an internet douche. There you go. That's what I think with Connor be. Connor would be that tanking asshole who talks down on everybody because, get good kind of bullshit. I imagine that might be Connor.
You brought up a really good point, which is, like, Edward is someone I could picture as, like, a real-life person. And, you probably meet him in a bar, probably the kind of guy who's, like, nice guy, but really rough around the edges. But, I don't know, man. What's next on our news stories?
Let's move along to some pretty big news. Halo 5.
Yeah!
The official name has came out. It's called Halo 5 Guardians. It's kind of surprising because it's like, I understand like the Xbox One announcement, but Halo, like, this is not really something that I expected to be announced at E3, although I've heard that it kind of like leaked out. It wasn't supposed to be announced quite yet, but it kind of got leaked out, whatever. And then Microsoft's kind of forced to kind of release information because like something as big as Halo should have been kept for E3. But yeah, it's called Halo 5 Guardian, and of course it's using a brand new engine that hasn't been used at this point, which will be pretty interesting. Frank O'Connor, who's a development director over at 343, who's developing the game, has released some details, such as the game will be, it's gonna, he said there will be plenty of strong female characters in the game, which that'll be kind of not a first, but it sounds like there's going to be more of a female influence in this Halo than previous games.
They showed that piece of, like, I guess what would be for now temporary box art / wallpaper.
Right. They
showed had Master Chief and then what looked like a far skinnier, like possibly female modern Spartan. It looked really cool, is what I thought at least.
He also said the things at the core regarding the engine. He said it's a new engine. The things at the core are vital, but a tiny fraction of the overall engine footprint. It's a new engine, not an iteration or a rendering evolution. So it's completely fresh, something that they've not shown yet, nothing that's been used yet. So, I mean, I'm hoping at E3 we see some gameplay. I think that'd be pretty sweet.
I think we're going to get a small teaser trailer. What I think is, so expanding on the Halo story, this has been, they first rumored this in January, and then they rumored it some more now, and then they've had the like, oh, well, if we were remaking Halo 2, we'd have to really get the multiplayer right. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. And that is Halo the Master Chief Collection, which is...
all 4 Halos. Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2, 3, and 4.
All the Halos, except for, ironically, my 2 favorites, Reach and ODST. And ODST...
I wasn't a big fan of ODST. I did like Reach, though.
I really liked ODST's story, not so much its, like... Well, its multiplayer was just Halo 3, so, I mean, other than Firefight. But holy crap, Reach was a great game. People who are like, I don't like Halo Reach, you're bad people.
Yeah, I think Halo Reach is probably my favorite of the franchise.
Yeah, and like it had everything. Like it was the most balanced game. Like the only thing I could hold against that game is I thought the map selection in other games was better. But even then, like Reach had all those. It had all the game modes. It had firefight. It had all kinds of good stuff. The thing about this is so you know only one of these is going to have multiplayer, and I'm wondering which one they are going to choose. Yeah, like
it won't surprise me if it was Halo 2 with all the rumors that were out about a Halo 2 remake.
Yeah, like Halo 2 seems like it seems like the logical. I guess I'd say the logical choice, or the most logical choice at least, because it's its 10th anniversary and all that good stuff. Like that seems like the logical choice, but I don't know. Like that's. But could they go to something else? Could they, like I'm trying to think of, like maybe they'll just port Halo 4's multiplayer up, which okay, I guess that'd be fine. I wouldn't be the biggest fan of it, but I could see it happening.
From a programming perspective, it's probably the easiest way is to just take 4, because let's be honest here. If you try to get Halo 2 multiplayer, you probably have to look at the structure and the code. Yeah, you have to look at the structure and the code of Halo 2 multiplayer, fix out all the bugs of it, and somehow make it work on an Xbox One and stuff like that. Like, from a coding perspective, that sounds like a lot of work. However, with Halo 4, all the code sitting right there, you just need to make it Xbox One compatible and maybe add a cool new feature or two. Easy. And not to mention 343 worked on the Halo 4 multiplayer code, so they're more familiar with it. Rather than having to ask a couple, instead of asking a couple people over at Bungie, hey, your code has some really shitty comments on it. Can you please interpret this function for me?
Do you remember this 10-year-old game? By the way, hey everyone, how many of you just feel old as dirt when I say Halo 2 is 10 years old this November? Like, just think about that for a minute. Does anyone else here just feel just fucking ancient?
When I was in elementary school band, I remembered a lot of the dudes were talking about Halo one day. It's just like, oh man, Halo's awesome. My band director was like, what's Halo? And that was the first time I heard of the game. And they were like talking about, oh man, it's this awesome game called Halo. It takes place in space and stuff like that.
I remember I played it on a friend's Xbox and I thought it was alright. Like I was like, this isn't as good as Metroid Prime or Unreal, whatever. But then I played the PC version and I started playing the real multiplayer, not just co-op, and I was like, this is the most amazing thing ever. And I became a huge Halo fan. Like I was a huge Halo fan for years and years and years and years. And basically until Halo 4 decided to ruin everything.
That's kind of like a good question that I kind of like ask. Like we always talk about like
Anthony, but it's just like a lot of people are probably hoping that Halo 2 is the multiplayer, but it's just like you guys said, with 343 working on Halo 4 and Halo 4 being the latest Halo title, more than likely that's going to be the game that's online because it just makes sense. It'd be the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, and that's kind of a bummer to me. Like, Halo 4 is a good game. I reviewed it. I gave it a 9. I enjoyed it, but it is probably my least favorite Halo, and it is because they changed the feel of Halo and the way Halo plays. One way they changed it was random weapon spawns and loadouts. Halo, the way Halo used to work is you had to control certain points on the map because that's where certain weapons spawned. And it was kind of hard to control certain points. Like on Lockout, for those of you who remember what Lockout was, it was the map on Halo 2 it was all snowy and it had the 2 towers. You had to control the bottom. And you're like, okay, why do you have to control the bottom? Because that's where the sword and the shotgun are. But you also have to want to control the top because that's where the sniper is. But like in Halo 4, a lot of it is like, okay, we're just going to control the high ground, and because weapon spawns are random, it doesn't really it doesn't really matter as much. And also, another change is because of loadouts, and not like Halo Reach where the loadouts were like jetpack, armor, like your armor ability, but like significant loadout changes. It kind of takes away, like, it changes the way it's balanced. Because, okay, now everyone starts with a DMR, or everyone starts with their weapon of preference, so they have no reason to go hunt for other weapons. Like, that's and that's part of the game. So, like I said, I didn't think it was a bad game. I thought it was a good shooter, but I just didn't think it was a good, I guess, the way I put it, it wasn't a good Halo game.
They made it more, I don't know if the right word is, they made it more bro-ish in a way.
Well, I know you really like Halo Reach.
I really do.
Halo Reach was amazing.
Reach was like one of like only 2 shooters that I ever really, really liked. And like playing Halo 4, it's like, for some reason, I like the faster pace of it. Mainly because I probably click more with Star Wars Battlefront 2, which is faster paced, and Modern Warfare 2, which is also faster paced. But it kind of felt like Halo. Time for you to take some lessons from Call of Duty for a day, and that's what it kind of felt like. And in addition to that, the announcer probably got a little too.
He got way too. He did a bunch of a bunch of cocaine before recording.
Yeah, like in Halo Reach, like in Halo Reach, it was kind of like his voice was already naturally cool, so they decided not to overdo it. But it was still really cool when you got like a Killtacular, and then you heard him say Killtacular, and you're just like, yeah, got a Killtacular. Whereas in Halo 4, it's kind of like this guy is.
He obviously did a whole bunch of cocaine before this recording. Because he is way too excited about your Killtacular.
Yeah, so it's Halo, but at the same time, doesn't really quite feel like the Halo that you were used to from like the previous 10 years.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what usually happens when you switch studios. Like, no matter, like, yeah, they might have a couple people from the Bungie team, but it's just like, when you transfer studios, you're just not going to get the same experience. It never has been. Like, whenever they've transferred, like, who's working on the game, it never turns out the same. You can just tell. And that's the feeling I'm going to get with, I feel like we're going to get with Gears of War, and Black Tusk is working on it. Like, even if by some crazy way Black Tusk makes it a good game, it's going to feel a lot different than the Gears of War, the epic games.
And this is kind of why I kind of agree with Bronson's viewpoint of just letting franchises go. Because let's be honest here, when you say Halo, for me, my image of Halo and the feel that I expect from a Halo game is from Halo Reach. That's my image of Halo. But then when you start tinkering with it too much, and then all of a sudden I start complaining about how it doesn't feel like Halo, how it doesn't play like Halo, and how it, it's too different. It's not the Halo I love. But if you use the same formula, then I start complaining about how you're not changing anything and how everything feels the same and you're not innovating. But then when you innovate, I say it's too different, it doesn't feel the same. Like, this is why like new franchises can help out. Is that when you have a new IP, it's like you have a fresh, clean slate. You don't have people thinking of what Halo should be and what it shouldn't be, how much it should innovate and how much it shouldn't innovate. That kind of problem.
But the thing is Halo is
it's a name.
Yeah,
it's worth a lot.
It's a $1 billion name.
It's a name that's worth a lot.
It's just like, that's the thing, like, all these game companies are in it for business, and it's like, if you own a business, and you're like, hey, if we come up with a Halo 5, and it's somewhat decent, we're going to sell millions and millions of copies and make millions and millions of dollars. If you're the guy running that company, and you're focused on bringing in profits, you're going to say, hell yeah, do it.
I mean, the thing is, though, is like,
because I tell you what, once, like, you're talking about Titanfall not selling consoles, I promise you Halo 5 will sell consoles. It will.
Yeah. I think that Halo, like, I'm trying to, like, Halo 4 feels like the New York Yankees of video games. And it, like, they made a really great game, but it feels like the way they made it is they just threw a ton of money at it. They just kept throwing money at it until it was good. So like that is, I guess that's how I feel about it. It's like, it's not bad. It's a really good game, but it feels like the New York Yankees. It's like, you guys, you didn't cheat to get here, but it almost feels like it.
You cheat. Yeah. I guess I can see that viewpoint.
And this is just, it's Titanfall. I mean, yeah, it sold good, but it's not what Microsoft expected it to be. So it's just like with Halo 5, this will be their next console seller. Unless they announce something that we have no clue about, Halo 5 will be their next console seller for sure.
It's like
Microsoft
Halo
doesn't have too many of those franchises. I mean, Gears of War is another one, but they kind of threw out the reputation with Judgment, so I don't think Gears of War has the same weight. And then the fact that it's not developed by Epic Games, I don't even think Gears of War is on the same level that it once was. So at this point, it's like Microsoft could announce a new franchise such as Quantum Break, which Quantum Break's rumored to be delayed until 2015 anyways. But something like that, I just don't see it really. I mean, Alan Wake sold well, but it wasn't a big console seller. So it's just like, at this point, I mean, what does Microsoft have as far as a huge title to fall back on to sell consoles? And the answer is Halo 5. Like, this will be the game that boosts their consoles.
I want to continue talking about Halo, but so there is apparently a leaked character model from the new Battletoads. So is that going to be I think that could be a real system seller, guys. Come on, new Battletoads. New Battletoads.
That's gonna challenge on how powerful the internet can be as far as influencing people to buy it.
It'll be cool, but like, for example, like what a lot of people don't know is like, yeah, a lot of these games were good when they came out, but they just don't stand up. Like, for example, Killer Instinct. Now, yes, if you're a Final fan, you love Killer Instinct, but all these people, like fans of the Killer Instinct franchise, are like, oh, we want Killer Instinct. Oh, we want Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct was nowhere near a console seller, not even close. Like, yeah, it was nice to have in there, but I don't know a single person who bought an Xbox One for Killer Instinct. So I mean, yeah, Bronson. Yes, it was Bronson. It may have played a part in your purchasing decision, but if that was the game that sold you on the Xbox One, you would have bought the Xbox One at launch because it was available at launch. The reason you got an Xbox One was because of Titanfall and the fact that you could get an Xbox One with Titanfall for $500, and yes, also your tax return. But the reason why you got it was because of when Titanfall also came out. So yes, it played a role in your purchase, but there's very few games, same with PlayStation, very few games that will sell a console on itself. With Microsoft, it used to be Gears of War. I don't think Gears of War has that value anymore.
Gears of War is a very 360s, Xbox 360s era game.
Right.
I'll put it that way.
I think the Gears of War on Xbox One, if it's a good game, yeah, it'll do good. It'll sell better than Judgment, but I don't think it's going to sell better than the other three Gears of War titles. But the one franchise that Microsoft has that will still sell consoles based off one game, Microsoft has one franchise, and that's Halo. Yes, some people will buy an Xbox One for Forza. I'm not saying some people buy an Xbox One for Titanfall. I'm not saying that there aren't games that will sell consoles to some people, but I'm talking about a mass audience. Halo 5 is that game. For PlayStation, it depends. For some people, it may be God of War, but then you look at the previous God of War, maybe God of War's value dropped because of that. But the one game that will definitely sell PlayStation, which we won't see for probably another 3 or 4 years, is Gran Turismo. Especially in Europe, and even here, there is a lot of people that will buy a PlayStation 4 just for Gran Turismo.
So I bought my PlayStation 3. I bought my PlayStation 3 because of Gran Turismo 5.
Yeah, I don't think people realize like how well Gran Turismo sells. Like, Gran Turismo is massive. It is PlayStation's biggest franchise by a long shot.
Well, I hope I get this right. Best-selling game on the PlayStation 1.
I
believe it was Gran Turismo. I think it was like Gran Turismo was like top 3 somewhere on there.
Let's see.
One of the other slots would have definitely been Grand Theft Auto.
I can tell you what got me to buy each system. And the Xbox One, it was Killer Instinct and a really large tax return, along with the fact that it came bundled with Titanfall. The PS4, it was Transistor and Infamous. So eventually
what sold me on Xbox One is I'm a huge sucker for Forza. I love Forza to death. Like, Forza is my game. I knew Titanfall was coming out, so I was excited to play that. I really wanted to play Rise, so I was looking forward to that. And I just really feel like Microsoft's getting their stuff together. I'm looking forward to the next Halo. I'm looking forward to Quantum Break. I'm looking forward to whatever else Microsoft brings. So with PlayStation 4, I'm a big fan of Killzone. So Killzone Shadowfall, I really like that. Infamous Second Son, which was well worth the wait.
Dude, you gotta try Transistor. It's so good.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. But then the Infamous Second Son came out, and then it's like I obviously needed the next generation console. So the reason why I picked PlayStation 4 first is my personal opinion. I feel like they have better games out right now, but that's my personal opinion. I like the image that Sony was portraying, and I'm just overall a fan of PlayStation. Plus, this is a more powerful console, and I just liked what Sony was doing. So that's why I went the PlayStation 4, but I own both consoles now. But even now, I don't feel either the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One yet. Yeah, PlayStation 4, Infamous Second Son is probably the biggest title thus far. Xbox One, Titanfall. But I really don't think either consoles have that one title. I mean, Titanfall was supposed to be it for Xbox One, but I don't think either console has had that one title that causes millions of people to go out and get a console.
Well, I mean,
and the only game I see coming out in any nearby future that will do that is Halo 5.
So I think that the killer app is truly going away. It more and more so that the killer app is harder and harder to justify and make for people. I mean, I don't like I'm trying to think of
put it is here's like one of the problems. Am I gonna really spend $400 just for one $60 game?
You can't.
That's
Anthony,
a lot.
But there's a lot of people who will.
No.
I mean, I think, I'm breaking it down by each company. Like, Microsoft, it's Halo. Like, that's it. Halo is the one. Sony,
I mean, think about it with the Xbox. Like, the original Xbox, the attach rate of Halo to the Xbox was some ridiculous, like 50% or something, maybe even higher than that. So more than half of the people who owned the Xbox owned Halo. Like, you don't see that with any other game.
Yeah, like, Halo would definitely do it on the Xbox. Like, PlayStation kind of varies for the region. Like, in the States, I found that, like, I bought my PS3 because of Metal Gear, and, I know a lot of people who bought it because of Uncharted. I know some people who bought it because of Final Fantasy. Like, PlayStation's it varies. And Nintendo, it's Zelda.
And Mario.
Zelda, Mario, and Pokemon.
Zelda, Mario, Pokemon, Smash Brothers.
Mario Kart too. Mario
Kart, yeah.
I mean, let's be honest here. Do you guys really? And I'm asking this as a question, like a yes or no question. Do you guys honestly believe that if Halo did not come out, like imagine Halo never existed? Do you guys honestly think that the Xbox would have been any form of success at all, and we would have even received an Xbox 360 or an Xbox One? Or do you think it would have been a one-hit wonder from Microsoft, and they say, hey, let's stick to PC gaming? I personally think that if Halo never existed, ever existed, I don't think we would have had an Xbox 360 or an Xbox One. I think Microsoft would have said, okay, we failed in the console business. This isn't where we need to be. Let's just focus on PC gaming.
I think it would have done. I don't think it would have done as well, but it would have been successful enough for them to give it another go, because there are games that did pretty well on the original Xbox.
Right, but you gotta look at it this way. Why were those Xboxes sold? The main influence would have been Halo.
Halo, but I know a lot of people who bought it because of Splinter Cell. I know a lot of people bought it because of Project Gotham. I know a lot of people who bought it just because it was the best. It was by far and away the best system to play multiplats on. Shit loaded faster.
Oh,
it looked better. Like
well, it released a full year after. Like, was it like a full year after the PlayStation 2?
Full year after, built-in hard drive, all that good shit. No, I remember I remember I played Madden on the PS2, and I played on the Xbox. And the Xbox version has custom soundtracks. The Xbox version it just loads 1,000 times faster and looks so much smoother. And then the online play is just so much better because no one's on a dial-up connection. Anthony, I showed you that panel from PAX Prime 2011 when they were talking about planning original Xbox Live, and they're like that was a huge thing. Like one of the big debates with the original Xbox was whether or not they should put an Ethernet cable in it instead of a regular dial-up connection, and they said no, the future is broadband. The future is broadband. We're going broadband. We're going for the long term, and I mean, I think this, I think it would have stuck around. I just don't think it would have been as successful. Like, instead of placing second, it would have placed third.
That's not really hard to do, though, because let's be honest here, you're only 2 million units away from third place.
Yeah.
You're
only 130 million away from first.
Oh man!
Oh my god, PS2. That was.
It was just like there's a PlayStation 2.
I don't think we're gonna see that again.
I mean, like freaking like two generations ago, it was like there's the PlayStation 2, and then there's everyone else.
Yeah, everyone.
You could combine GameCube.
Everyone owned a PlayStation 2.
Well, you could combine Xbox, GameCube, and Dreamcast sales, and it still wouldn't be up to PS2 levels.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest
the
here.
PS2.
Everyone we know who games. We name one person out of everyone we know who games who did not own a PlayStation 2.
Anthony did not own a PS2.
That's because that was because I wasn't exactly what you would call a gaming enthusiast. Because back when I was little, the only franchises I ever cared about were Mario, Pokemon, Need for Speed, and I think that was about it. Like, I wasn't exactly what you call a normal gaming enthusiast. I just kind of like lived in this walled-off world where, to me, there was only Nintendo, there was only Need for Speed, and and then there's like Kids WB. That was it. As far as my entertainment, go. I mean, freaking, I've been so out of tune of cable television that when I found out they're called the CW now, I was like, wait, what?
So I think that, like, I look back on the PS2 and how successful it was, and it was just a perfect storm. Like Sega, like, there wasn't enough customer faith in Sega. Nintendo decided to not use DVDs. Xbox was still new, and the PS1 was so massively successful. Factor that in with PlayStation 2 coming out a year earlier than everyone except for Dreamcast. So it just kind of was like this perfect storm of where, well, okay, everyone's going to develop on this, everything's coming out for this, and because it's a cheap DVD player also, everyone is going to buy this.
Yeah, that's why I thought Microsoft was kind of stupid to try to go up against Sony and the media format with HD versus Blu-ray. Like, there was no way. Like, I knew from the beginning, I was like, Microsoft is stupid. Like, why in the world do they think they're going to be able to compete with Sony on a disc format? And I say that for multiple reasons.
Well, here's the thing, yeah.
Well, one, Sony is not just a game company. Neither is Microsoft, but Sony is an entertainment company. They own music. They own movies. So that alone, just from that standpoint, Sony had a much higher upper edge than Microsoft. Yes,
I mean,
Microsoft
like, probably the
is
most
heavily involved with the software of computers, but they don't own music studio. They don't own movie studios. Like, they don't have all that, and all of that has a huge influence. Maybe not music, but movies has a huge influence on which format was going to win. Plus, with Microsoft, they had never really launched a new technology into their console. Like, yeah, when Xbox came out, DVD was still fairly new. But when PlayStation 2 came out with DVD, like, that's when DVD was, like, just taking off. Just like with the PlayStation 3, that's when Blu-ray was first taking off. So I thought with Microsoft, like, really, like, I was, like, really Microsoft. And then to watch movies, you have to buy an external player. Like, I was just like, get the
An
fuck
external
out
player
of
that
here.
you can't put game discs into.
Yeah, I was like, get out of here. Like, HD DVD was a failure from the very beginning. Like, even
like, you think about it.
The technology wasn't even close to that of Blu-ray. I was just like, Microsoft, like,
what Microsoft was
thinking. Like these are some things, like, they have these executives, they're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, they're getting all these stock options, so they're really getting paid millions of dollars a year. And it's just like something so freaking common sense. Like, what in the freaking world? Did you guys really think you had any chance against Blu-ray at all?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. How expensive is Blu-ray? Because here's the thing, HD DVD, I think, is kind of like based on regular DVD technology. Yeah, your discs are of lower capacity, but it kind of uses some existing technology or cheaper technology. And at the time, Blu-ray is really expensive. Yes, you had your $600 PlayStation 3, which is also a Blu-ray player, which is a very nice bonus. A very, very nice bonus. But Blu-ray was very expensive, because at this point, people have yet to even purchase HD TVs.
Man. I remember in 2000, I want to say it was January 2009. I was over at a girlfriend's house, like new girlfriend house for her first time for like watching, like we decided to watch horror movies on New Year's because her and her friends were crazy. And I remember like walking in and like she just got an Xbox for Christmas and set up in the living room. And next to it is a regular HD DVD player. I'm like, oh yeah, we got an HD DVD player, just got it. And like, I just did not have the heart to break it to him. Like, oh man, you guys made a really bad mistake. I'm just gonna stay.
I remember finding
I am just gonna stay quiet.
I remember seeing like an HD player for the Xbox 360, like, a few months, like, it might have been maybe more, it was about 6 months after the HDD, they just stopped manufacturing them. And I remember they used to charge, what was it? At first, they charged like $100, $150 for that thing. I remember seeing it for clearance somewhere for like $20.
They patched support of that out of the 360. You cannot use those anymore.
Oh, you can't?
No, like, and first off, I'd be super pissed if because even then, those movies still ran in 1080p and looked fucking amazing.
Well, yeah, I would have been super pissed too, because if you would have bought and supported that and bought like 10, 15 movies or even more, and then you bought that player and then just walk it out on you, that's kind of messed up.
I mean, you can still run it on your PC, but like,
but that's not the point, though. A lot of people don't have their PCs connected to their TV.
Yeah,
I do, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah, I would be super pissed. I'd be like, what? Seriously? Like, in the same generation of consoles, you fuckers locked this out? God damn it.
I'd be like, give me your address, let me send you the player and the movies, and then send me a refund so I can go buy me a Blu-ray player and get Blu-ray versions of
Was there like some legal document that said that they had to destroy all evidence of HD DVD ever existing? Was there some legal document that told them to do that? Because it's like, it doesn't make sense. Because it's like, why would you need to patch it out? Like, you already put in all the effort to make it exist in the first place.
Yeah, like, I can understand stopping the manufacturing of the player, but yeah, doing that, I don't know. Maybe there's some legally they had to do it. I don't know.
I think it's mainly because
I was just like, Microsoft they're so stupid about this. Like, anyone who thought HD released with a chance to get Blu-ray, I just don't know what to tell you.
I think that, Warner Brothers was backing it, a couple people were backing it. I think if it was built into the 360 and they somehow managed to make the 360 still $400, it would have stood a chance. But even then, like, that's a rough sell. Oh, man. I don't know. So you guys any other news stories? Because I got 2 more lined up.
Yes, I have 2 more as well. So a small one, I think this is actually, it's kind of sad. So Dinosaur Games. They're the developer of the upcoming PlayStation 4 exclusive Without Memory, which is a indie title. Have you guys been following that at all?
No, not really.
Yeah, it looks like it's like an interesting. It's like a horror indie game coming out for the PlayStation 4. Looks interesting, but they were originally approved and ready to go to attend E3 through ESA, which ESA is like the management company who manages everything through E3. They manage media registration for exhibitors, and they approve everyone and all that stuff. So they had originally said that, hey, we're going to E3, we're going to be there, come check out the game. But then they posted an update saying, due to the current political situation between Russia and the U.S. with the whole Vladimir Putin thing and all that, we're not going to get into that. But because Russia and the United States aren't on the most friendly terms, that they were denied because they're a Russian-based developing studio, that they were denied a visa to visit the United States. So now they are no longer going to be at the E3 show. Now they also said in addition to that, they didn't have enough content to showcase, but dodging that fact, it's kind of sad here. It's like this Russian studio is working on this game and they're told they can't come to E3 because their visa isn't approved because of all the bullshit going on right now between us and Russia. Crazy. Any thoughts on this?
It's a shame that
it's
a shame that politics are getting in the way of this kind of stuff. But
the problem is that how do I say this without making it sound political or some stupid conspiracy theory?
No, Anthony, piss everyone off. Let's do it.
Do I really want to piss people off? Because here's the thing. Here's what I think. When you're talking about something like, when you're talking about a superpower, or I guess if those things still exist, when you're talking about a country that has as much concern for national security as the United States, you tend to get paranoid about things, or at least I think you get paranoid about things, because here's the thing. As much as we would like to say, hell yeah, we want these developers to come by, the US government or whatever is gonna suspect one of these guys are Russian operatives, kind of thing. Because let's be honest here, when you have spies aren't dumb. They're not retarded. Okay, they blend in very, very well. Like, there was like this one news story that I read years ago about how they arrested some people through the state of New York, where they had they seemed so perfectly American, yet it was soon found out that they were actually Russian spies. So, stuff like that kind of ticks off the paranoia when it comes to national security. Yeah, they're going to install fingerprint scanners into the controller so that anyone who plays the game, they're going to take a record of who played. They're going to take your fingerprint. They're going to have a PlayStation camera that supposedly works within the game, and they're going to snap a picture of you and snap the identity of thousands of people at E3. I think what the security was concerned is not necessarily E3 related, but more like they're under the guise of they're at E3, but what they're actually doing is that because they're now on American soil, they can do other things that are not related to E3. Stuff like I said, when you have a country that is this concerned about national security, I have a very good feeling that they get paranoid about just about anybody, especially if they're coming from countries that they are not being friends with. Okay, because this development studio, how do you know, you think about it, how do you know that this studio isn't something that's secretly funded by the Russian government? So, secretly funded by the Russian government, so that way they can sneak into American soil and start plotting things or collect intel and stuff like that. That's the stuff that you think, that you probably have to think about when, in today's world or something like that. So, you never know. Like I said, spies aren't dumb. Highly trained professionals, okay? It probably is kind of like the movies, except probably even scarier, is the kind of thing. So, that's probably why they wouldn't let something like that from Russia come in, no visas and that kind of thing. That's probably the worst case scenario. Quite crazy, I know. Are they actually spies? I don't think so, but hey. Yeah, especially since they're working. I mean, there's a developer on the PlayStation, but then again, exclusive. And technically, this could be this huge plot, but I mean, I personally don't think so. like
Is it possible? Certainly possible. Anything's possible, but
like I said, I'm not qualified to make that statement. But let's be honest here. We kind of live in a world where you've got some extremely good liars. So like very, very good liars, and that's how spies work, and such a thing does exist. I mean, pretty sure people have read stuff like in the 1950s during the Cold War. Freaking these two people stole nuclear secrets and gave it to the Soviet Union. Okay, stuff like that can happen, and they have happened. So it takes off the paranoia, and now as far as I could tell, I am okay. Personally, I think it should be okay for them to just come by and show their game. And if you're that paranoid, just keep an eye on them. And that's probably gonna sound like, yeah, come by. We're gonna have like the police and the CIA keep an eye on you. But I'm not qualified to say this. But whenever you're talking about countries you're not okay with, you kind of don't want people from that country to come by to your country. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe an analogy would be like, you've run this company and you've got, let's just say you are man, I nearly said CD in Western Digital. Let's just say that you are game manufacturer 1 and game manufacturer 2. Game manufacturer 1 and 2 are very pissed off at each other. Are you going to be okay with just letting some random employees from game manufacturer 2 into the building of game manufacturer 1 if you are the head of guy number 1? You think you're going to let that happen? Like, there's like a lot of bad blood. She's like, was you going to let them in? Because they could be coming by just to look at your office and see what ideas they could steal off your desk. Like, that kind of paranoia can exist.
Or come in to try to be potential employees and like wreak havoc in the office and delete all your assets.
Like corporate espionage. I think that's the word right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're talking about guarding secrets, you kind of have to apply some paranoia. So that's my personal thought on it.
Next news story, Nick. What is it?
Well, yeah. So the next news story, which I know I'm excited about, I don't know about you guys. Ubisoft announced Far Cry 4. Far Cry 4 will be releasing on the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and the PC. It will be coming out November 18th in the United States and November 20th in all other territories. I'm personally really excited. I love the Far Cry franchise. I did not like the first Far Cry. Far Cry 2 was alright. Far Cry 3 I thought was amazing. So I'm really excited to check out Far Cry 4, see what Ubisoft's able to pull off with these next generation consoles. That'd be really interested in the locations taking place in Kairat, which, oh man, it just looks so cool. They haven't shown any gameplay or anything. They haven't shown a teaser trailer. They've only showed like an image of what like the proposed cover art may be. But we will be at E3, and Ubisoft will definitely have this game at E3, so I'm going to do my best to get the meeting set up to conduct an interview, and I will definitely look forward to getting my hands on with the game because I'm super, super excited.
So, I didn't like Far Cry 1. I pretty much owned it just so I could benchmark my computer at the time. And Far Cry 2 I didn't like either. Far Cry 3 I really liked, but I had some issues with it. It was number 9 on our top 10 games of 2012. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'm curious to see what it's about.
Yeah, I feel like Far Cry, every game it's gotten significantly better. Like Far Cry 2 was so much better than the first, and Far Cry 3 was light years beyond the second one. So hopefully we'll see that same trend. Like I said, I really liked Far Cry 3.
Have you seen have you guys seen the Photoshop of the cover where they made that main bad guy look like Willy Wonka?
Oh my gosh. I saw that and I about died.
Would that be the photo of this podcast?
Yes, I will make that one of the photos for this podcast. That'll be the center part of it. Oh my gosh, yes, I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, whoever created this is a flippin' genius. Yeah,
I actually know who made it. It was Brian Altano over at IGN.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. So the news stories I have here, I got a couple small ones. The first one is So everyone's been wondering, like, what the hell is going on for Super Smash Bros. On the Wii U? We're not sure if we want to use the Pro controllers. Everyone hates Wiimotes. So what the fuck's going on? Well, the fine folks over at PDP are making GameCube controllers for Wii U.
Is it like a GameCube controller that just is it like a Wii U Pro controller with a GameCube face on it?
Pretty much.
Then isn't that just a skin?
No, it is. Okay, so I want you to.
So basically, it has all the buttons of the Wii U Pro controller. They just rearranged it and changed bits of it to make it look more like a GameCube controller.
It looks and feels like a GameCube controller, but it is a Wii U Pro controller.
Okay, well, that sounds pretty cool.
ADP will sell a good amount of those.
That's going to be pretty cool. There's just going to be only a few problems I can already tell. First off, the Wii U Pro controller, I don't think you can program analog triggers, because one of the things that the GameCube controller had was analog trigger buttons. Which on the Wii U controller, they don't have that. It's just a button. So pretty sure you don't get that analogness. I'm pretty sure you have to push it down all the way to flip the digital switch. Other things I could tell. They're gonna have to work really, really hard to make sure it feels like a GameCube controller. It's one thing to make a controller look like a GameCube controller, just like all the other third parties. But does it feel like a GameCube controller? Well, we will see.
Yeah,
because it needs to weigh like one. The buttons have to feel like one. The analog sticks needs to feel like them. Also, it needs to feel like a GameCube controller. If not, well, then you can easily tell it's just a copy. It's
I agree with Anthony here. Usually, these companies like Nyko and PDP, and there's a few others. It's like, when they come out with these controllers for consoles, they're never as good as the actual original controllers that Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo create. And the reason why is Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo have a lot more money than these companies. So these companies invest a lot of time. They do a lot of research. They get the controller into a lot of people's hands to make sure that their controller is the best they can possibly make it. So when you have like Nyko or Mad Cats or others trying to come up with these controllers, they come out with these controllers, and of course they sell them cheaper because they can't compete at the price of these other controllers. So we'll sell them for like $15 cheaper, but they just don't compare at all. They never feel near as good, and that's why when I had my PlayStation 2 and I was a child and my parents bought the console, we had some of those third-party controllers, but
I actually still
the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Xbox 360, I would never go with a single controller besides that of the original.
Yeah, when I started to buy my own controllers during the GameCube era, I always went for first party. But I actually have some third-party N64 controllers that have held up pretty well. Mad Cat, they're both one's a Mad Catz, the other one is a, what is this?
Do you guys remember the controller manufacturer Pelican?
Yeah, they still. Yeah. I remember.
They still exist. I remember I had a Pelican GameCube controller.
So it's from this company called Performance. And it is a N64 controller that is supposed to be more like a PlayStation 1 controller, and it is the most horribly uncomfortable thing imaginable.
That's the other problem, too, that I have with those third-party controllers, is that you're used to how a Nintendo 64 controller feels. You're used to that because it comes with the system and you used it for a very long time. But the third parties, they all try to differentiate themselves, because I think if you copy the exact original design, you're probably going to get sued for it.
Okay, no, the reason that this is uncomfortable is my Mad Catz one feels fine. It's just a little bigger. But this thing, instead of being 3-pronged, it's 2-pronged. And it has the D-pad and the analog on the left side. But instead of being normal sized, like a PlayStation or a 360, it's the left side is way bigger than the right side, and it's just I think I've showed you this thing before, right?
Yeah, it looked really dumb.
It's really dumb and weird, and it came. And how did I forget? I forgot how I got this thing. I think we bought. Oh yeah, we bought a cartridge holder for a friend of mine, and they didn't want this like retarded controller that came with it, so I took it. So now whoever is third player at my house playing N64 games gets to suffer.
Unless I bring some of my N64 controllers, but no, but like you actually kind of brought up a point because third parties in general, they don't exactly make a controller that's shaped exactly like the original because I feel like maybe there's some
they can't.
It's like it's either patent or they're gonna get sued for it. So what they do is they try to make it shaped differently. Like like my cousin, extra GameCube controllers. He bought these Mad Cat controllers, and they have like enlarged grips for the ultimate gripping experience. So that way your hands will never slip off when you're playing, and your hands get really sweaty when you're under heavy pressure or something like that.
So I remember with the PlayStation 2. I actually asked my parents to they got them for me for like one Christmas or a birthday one year, I can't remember. Those airflow controllers.
Those things were pieces of shit.
Yeah, they were terrible. I had like the ones that they're like clear and there was lights in the middle of them and they're like airflow and they like blew air out of the controller into your hands. They're so bad.
I remember Quinn had those for the original Xbox and I hated using them at his house. I'm like, no, you are the one who requested, like, you're the one who bought these. You are the one who is going to use them. I'm going to use the one controller you have that is not terrible, because these fucking airflow controllers and these glow-in-the-dark things are fucking garbage. And I'm not going to suffer because of your bad decision-making.
Yeah, they're so bad.
Yeah, so, like, the design isn't right, and not to mention, because they're cheaper, the quality, oh my goodness. Those Mad Cat controllers, like apparently with the GameCube, I've learned is that if there's something wrong with the controller, like a wire got cut or there's some circuitry bug, the whole system just dies. The whole system just shuts down completely, and you can't turn it back on unless you unplug the power supply in the back and plug it back in. That's what happened with my GameCube controllers because one of the wires was starting to come apart, and the system just dies. As a way of saying your controller is screwed. And the Mad Cat controllers were already doing that, and they weren't really that old either. So, quality is not very good. They try to do these outrageous designs to make them look cooler. It's like aftermarket parts. It's like putting on a dumb front bumper for your car. It's just like, it's probably not as good as the original bumper because it's more likely to fall off or something like that. And it's just, ugh. But yeah. So, yeah, I like the concept that they are trying to make a GameCube shaped controller for the Wii U, but I feel that the quality won't be there and it won't feel like it. The analog sticks might feel a bit wonky, and to be honest, you don't have analog triggers, and yeah.
Okay, so to mark the end of this news story, they're going to be $25, and they will feature fan favorite characters Mario, Yoshi, and Princess Peach. It is planned to be released around the same time. It'll also work with virtual console games. Though why you wouldn't just use the gamepad for those, I don't know. Continuing on with this. Oh, by the way, that SingStar, this is way back in the podcast, but they have a name for that new SingStar. It is called SingStar Ultimate Party. So,
that's a little generic, if I'm honest.
But, well, Anthony...
It's true. It is true. Or at least in the case of Bronson, it's true.
Hey.
But, no, but, it's just like, that's kind of a little generic. That feels like something that Nintendo would come up with. It's like Wii Karaoke Ultimate Party is what I usually would expect a kind of subtitle to be stuck onto. Anyways, yeah.
Let's see.
Of course, it could be worse. It could be more generic and said like Ultimate Hits, which is used by just about every CD label out there.
So, last two news stories is Hyrule Warriors has been previewed in Famitsu, and it actually looks really good graphically and from a gameplay standpoint. It has some real shine to it, and it is supposedly coming out in Japan on August 14th.
Okay. I guess that's a good thing, because one of the things that really worried me was that the gist of it is it's Dynasty Warriors with a Hyrule face on it. And what really worried me was that Dynasty Warriors hasn't exactly been like a super awesome franchise of any kind. If anything, they've been okay, except as time went on, they got some really bad games, which really worried me. Because it was almost like one of those. This isn't like with Nintendo reaching out to Team Ninja when they made Metroid Other M, and Metroid Other M was actually a good game. I like it. In this case, it's like, oh dear, do I really want to play a bad Dynasty Warriors game that just happens to have Link in it? Oh dear. But at least it's good that game doesn't seem as bad, according to Famitsu, it seems.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think the Dynasty Warrior games for me have always been up and down. Like, they've always been that series that like if I want something mindless and kind of entertaining, it's kind of always there. It's the same reason I enjoyed 99 Nights. Anyway, the last news story is...
Well, real quick, just something I want to mention about Dynasty Warriors. Dynasty Warriors will always have a place in my heart, simply because I remember it was like my first, it was the first time I ever played PlayStation 2. There was a KB Toys. Remember KB Toys? There was a KB Toys where I used to live, and this was before PlayStation 2 came out, and they had a PlayStation 2 for play, and I walked in, and I was like, oh my gosh, and they had a sign there saying, hey, please limit play to like 10 minutes or something like that, and they had Dynasty Warriors on the PlayStation 2, because that was one of the launch titles of PlayStation 2. And oh man, I played
just all the dudes on screen. Just like it was fucking unbelievable. Then you realize that's all that Dynasty Warriors did, was just tons of dudes on screen.
That game, it's really cool for like a couple minutes. I think it's so old.
And that's like they've changed it so there's like good, like they've updated the combat and done some things to make it more entertaining. But even then, it's still. I don't know, like Anthony, I can see you enjoying it because you've never played that kind of game before. But like, I think you only need to play like one or two of those for a lifetime.
Well, then I think Hyrule Warriors is a good place to do it.
So my last story is so to update you on all you fine folks who don't play MOBAs. The big two are Dota 2 and League of Legends. Well, Dota 2 is gearing up for its yearly giant tournament called the International. This year it's the International 4. It's the fourth one.
I like that name. It's just, part of me thinks that's a good, simple name, and the other part of me is like, are they trying to be like golf where they have this tournament called the Masters? So now you have the International.
Okay, well...
That kind of, actually, like I said, it's a simple name, easy to remember, cool, nice. And another part of me is like, that's a... Okay.
It's hosted at the Key Arena in Seattle every year, and they fund the prize pool with what is known as a compendium. The compendium is this... it is a special purple book that you complete objectives in Dota 2, and it'll earn you special in-game treasures, in-game effects, bonus loading screens, booster points, all kinds of stuff for Dota 2, basically. And they're $10, and $2.50 of it goes to the prize pool. Well, and this keeps going until the actual tournament starts on July 18th. As of right now, the prize pool for Dota 2's International is $6 million.
Holy crap.
See, to put that in perspective, that means, hold on. Alright, so...
Sports is getting so big.
Dude, it's
Before
nuts.
you know it, they're going to be selling out the Staples Center for esports.
They already have. Last year, League of Legends held its world tournament at the Staples Center.
And it sold out?
Well, I don't know if they'd say sold out, but they rented out the Staples Center for the League of Legends World Tournament. And they even managed to convince the U.S. government to allow international players to have sports visas. That's how big it is.
So...
That's crazy.
So... Dota 2 is a wonderful game, and we're gonna go way deeper in this on the raid this week. I've actually been playing a lot of Dota 2 recently because my Warcraft account ran out, and I needed some way to I needed to come off that high with a different high. But yeah, dude, this is nuts, and this has till July 18th to keep growing. Like that's what you like. They have like this compendium is for sale right now. You can go get it if you're a Dota player, and like every Dota player is buying one. So, and right now, if you go on Twitch or any streaming service, like the three biggest PC games right now are League of Legends, Dota 2, and Hearthstone. Which, I mean,
wow.
Yeah, like so MOBAs are huge. They continue to grow. I hope Blizzard is at E3 with Heroes of the Storm so I can finally play it. Is it weird to anyone else that Hearthstone has gotten as big as it's got?
Yeah, but here's the thing. $6 million prize pool, which means that whichever team is gonna win, first place is getting like what, $1 million of that or something like that? Let's just say $1 million. That's huge. Huge amount of money. And for those of you who don't realize as far as tournaments like this go, let's go back to golf for a bit. So I mentioned the Masters tournament. The Masters tournament is one of the most famous tournaments in the sport of golf, and it's known worldwide. Like, you cannot get into the Masters unless you're invited. That is the only way you can get in. And their prize fund is only $9 million. So you're talking about Dota 2 having a prize pool that's 2/3 of that already. And that's once unbelievable.
Again, continuing to grow. Not done. We have another 2 months, pretty much, of that people buying these things.
So crazy. Like if you would have told me that esports would have gotten as big as it's gotten, I would have said you were crazy.
Well, esports has got.
Like,
esports
I remember
has
back in the day. Like, remember when G4 was actually good and like, it was G4. It was what was it before G4? It was
Tech TV.
Tech TV.
It was Tech TV. No, I think it was G4 at this time, but Arena. I used to love that show. But if you had told me that this thing of esports would have gotten as big, I mean, it's getting so big now. Like, there's so many people making a living off of it now. There's some people making a really, really, really good living off of it.
I mean, yeah, there are people who make their living on, like, they pay for their bills by streaming on Twitch and YouTube, and then that's how they go to the tournaments and pay their bills.
Yeah, and then these professional gamers, they get paid from winning these tournaments, but they also get sponsors like Razer and what's some more? There's a lot of PC accessory manufacturers, Steel Series. They all sponsor these teams, and it's just crazy. I mean, they actually have uniforms just like in real sports. It's crazy.
It's, I mean, I like, depending on the game, I've enjoyed watching esports. Like, I watch EVO every year.
I can't stand to watch it personally. I love playing games, but I can't watch that.
Well, dude, you need to watch EVO. Fighting game tournaments are the best shit to watch ever. Like, I can understand why, like, watching League or Dota is unappealing, like, unless you play those games. But, like, watching a Street Fighter tournament is so much fun. Especially if it's a really good match. So.
Oh, man. Like, I think esports got its huge explosion because of these PC games. StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
Okay, look. National sport of South Korea. Yeah, that says it all, right? Doesn't it? Then you've got and then you've got MOBAs. League of Legends. Dota. Freaking, like, the past 4 or 5 years, this genre has just simply exploded to the point where it's like now you've got a 6 million plus prize pool that's rivaling like already extremely well established sports out there. So it's really mind-boggling because let me tell you, like, back when I was playing League last summer quite a bit, watching that stuff is really exciting. For one thing, they actually got pretty good announcers, if I'm honest. And when you watch those fights go off, it's pretty darn amazing. And when you're thinking about I think the other reason why esports also gotten popular is that if you're a gamer, you actually kind of have a bit more of a connection to these people, because these people aren't like dressed in fancy suits or fancy polo shirts or carry around expensive briefcases or anything like that. They just dress normally. Sure, they have their shirts with sponsorships written all over it, but they dress normal for the most part. And if you think about it, you can be good at a game too. Like, for example, say...
I mean, like, it's the same reason sports are so popular. Like, you can be good at a sport, too. Like, I mean,
But in the case of a sport, you kind of... In some sports, when you're talking about, like, say, football, you run a very high risk of injury.
Well, yeah.
And you run a very high risk of injury, but it's just like as far as being a gamer, you kind of have, like, a better connection when you think about those people that... They're about the same age as you. They're enjoying a hobby that's relatively young still compared to other things, and and you can be good too if you spend in huge amounts of time, and you can do local gaming tournaments. You're not going to get much, but you can still do local gaming tournaments. I feel like there's a better connection when you're talking about esports compared to, like, say, football. Oh man, I could go outside and play football, but man, do those athletes make like $50 million a year, and wow, does that seem really outlandish?
Well, yeah, but like that's because esports are still new, and I encourage you to watch. Like, I've been trying to get you to watch this movie for fucking ever now, Free to Play. Like, it shows how a lot of esports gamers are like barely scraping by, or like having to live off family because, like,
these people they're not living. I mean, they're not making a ton of money.
I think that also helped. Well, yeah, okay. In that case, I think that viewpoint also helps with the personal connection that you've probably noticed, because it's like, hey, they're not outlandishly rich. They're very good. They're very good, and they're famous, but they're not outlandishly rich, which is kind of like the gamer mentality. It's like how many people play video games that are broke? Lots.
Yeah, but like it's these guys like. The really good teams they're pretty much broke, and their sponsor basically pays for a house for the 5 of them to live in, so they can do nothing but practice and eat and sleep. I mean, I was actually just reading an article in Game Informer about this, where like it's one of the world's best Call of Duty teams, and the sponsor, it pays for a house. And then they make additional money, their own personal spending money off of Twitch and YouTube. And all they do, like, they sleep, and they wake up, and they practice.
That just seems like, as much as I love video games, that just seems like I couldn't live that lifestyle.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing that professional athletes do.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, I don't know. I think it's a little bit different, though, because it's like you're playing the same game over and over and over again for hours. Whereas, like, sports, I think it's different because it's just like
you are playing the same game over and over and over again for hours.
You can argue that, but I've played sports. I've played video games. Completely different.
Dude, I used to do competitive Halo before this esports scene was cool. Damn you, kids. But I used to play competitive Halo. Same concepts. Like, okay, we got practice from blank to blank. These are the tactics and things we're gonna be practicing. And I played football for years. I ran track for years, and and I did baseball when I was a little kid. And God, I was terrible at baseball. Like, I was one of those people that I couldn't play the field. All I could do was hit. Like, that's all I was good at. I was terrible at everything else. But it's very much the same way as an Olympic athlete. It's very much like, okay, I'm gonna wait. Like, every waking moment of my fucking life is dedicated to this fucking sport. Like, that's the same way Olympic athletes are. Fucking Michael Phelps. That dude wakes up. Okay, everything I do and everything I am is dedicated towards fucking swimming. Like, these guys are the same way. Everything I do and everything that does about fucking Dota. Like, that's same concept. I I don't know. Like there was a point in my life where I considered I had the opportunity to do competitive Halo back in Halo 2 and Halo 3, and I didn't do it because I like it was very much I thought it would ruin the game for me, and it probably would have.
Well, yeah, I mean, at that point, you're not playing the game to enjoy it.
Yeah, no, and that's what I enjoyed, and I was enjoying the game. I mean, you know.
But see, that's that's what's different though. Like, well, at least I mean, it's different per person. But like, I played baseball since I was 5 years old through high school until I had my injury. And never once did I really get bored of it. But I couldn't play a game hours and hours every single day without getting tired of it.
And everyone's different. I mean,
everyone's. I mean, there are a lot of gamers that probably say that different. They're like, if I played baseball for a little bit, I'd get bored of it real quick. Yeah, I mean, it's different per person.
Yeah, like I mean, like I wasn't, I've gotten bored of baseball, but like if you put me on a football field, I will play until I can't walk. Yeah. Like like that has literally happened to where like I was just so tired that I had to lie there for a little bit. And like I think about games to where like if I were to do an esport, the games I would pick, Halo would probably be one. Let's throw that third question out here. You get 3 games. If you had to become a professional esports player and you could do it in 3 games, what would your 3 games be?
I think my 3 games would be 3 games you would never find in esport.
Okay, but it has to be an esport game. So it has to be a fighting game that's popular, one of the 2 big MOBAs, or a shooter.
Okay, well, if that's the case, I'd probably do Halo. Call of Duty, as much as I'm not a fan of Call of Duty, I mean, a shooter. Not in the MOBAs, not in the fighting games. I suck at fighting games, so I guess I would need another first-person shooter like Counter-Strike or something.
Counter-Strike is actually the 5th most popular shooter on here, or 5th most popular game.
Yes, I guess I'd have to go with Halo, Call of Duty, and Counter-Strike.
Let's see. I would do Halo, Street Fighter, and I probably Dota 2. What about you, Anthony?
I can only think of 2. I have a hard time picking the third one. Halo, League of Legends, and I want to say Smash Brothers. But that's just gonna irk people, so that's not gonna work.
That's not a real fighting game. I don't know. You were having fun playing Street Fighter when we were trying to teach you.
I was picking up Street Fighter pretty well, which was quite surprising. But I don't think I played it enough to feel like I got a good impression of it. But as far as I don't have many competitive games, if I'm honest, because
you should learn Dota 2 with me, Anthony, and you and I can just get super pissed that we're terrible.
Well, I do have time this summer, so like I've been like asking people, it's just like, look, I have absolutely no problem. I have absolutely nothing against Dota. I just need someone to teach me. Okay, because I tell people, oh, I play League because, well, that's the only MOBA I know how to play. Okay, someone teach me Dota because Dota has an absolutely garbage tutorial. Okay, at least League of Legends kind of gives you like you can play against bots, and you can have an entire team of bots so that we can familiarize your game with a little bit. And it's like, oh, that's how League of Legends works, or at least you have like a very, very basic concept. Whereas with Dota, it's like you are on a quest, you are the Dragon Knight, walk here, and I'm just like, that's it.
I would just like to say that, like, so I'm in the process of learning Dota right now, and I'm just trying to get familiar with these 2 heroes. They're Skeleton King and Dragon Knight, and I probably should save this for the raid on Saturday or Sunday, but fuck it, gonna do it now.
Layman's version, please.
Yeah. Well, I'll go. But they both only so most of the character I want to really learn in that game is her name starts with an L. She's that fire mage, because she has all these really cool abilities that I think are really rad. But I kind of have no idea how to build her or how to use them. So I'm learning right now. I'm in the process of learning a character with a bunch of passive abilities, abilities that just are, and then one skill that you time to use, and it's a stun. Like I want to get good with this one simple character before I branch off, and that's actually going kind of well. Like it's not. I feel the thing about MOBAs, and this actually includes League of Legends, is to get into them, you really need someone to teach you. Like at the
Well, in the case of League, what I've learned is that you can be somewhat of a competent beginner if you spend a lot of time reading guides and learning a single character. Or 2 or 3. Actually, to be honest, if you're a beginner, it's good to have 3 characters because someone's gonna jack your role. Okay, like I like to play as the person that goes on the middle lane of the map, or a person who's what they call a support. But the problem is that
I like playing top. As long as we're having this discussion.
Well, I'm trying to keep this as layman as version, but the problem is that someone might jack both of those roles. Someone might jack the 2 spots that I play at my best, which is either the middle or support with the bottom. But if they jack it, then what? I have to use a 3rd character, right? Which, it just throws a wrench in the thing. And that actually brings me to a point why it's very difficult, extremely difficult, to be esports competitive. Because, especially with a MOBA. The problem with a MOBA is that because they're always changing it, they're always, every patch that they put out always changes something. Whether this character has had a debuff on them, nerfed. Whether this character has been nerfed, or whether this character has been buffed to be made stronger. And it's so, and this is one of the reasons why I stopped playing League of Legends when I, got back into my college semester last year. Too much upkeep. Way too much upkeep.
That's one thing I like about fighting games, is like you get a patch probably once a year if you're lucky, so you can really learn the ins and outs. The shitty part is if it's like original or vanilla Street Fighter 4 where Sagat's broken as fuck, then that sucks. But Anthony, I actually am going to encourage you to do this. So I'm thinking about starting a show because John's a fan of fighting games, right? And so am I. And we both want to learn to get better at them. So I'm thinking about starting a show, and we'll post it on Fridays, called Friday Night Fights. Post it Friday nights, obviously. Sure. And it's where just John and I go in and play fighting games and learn fighting games. You should totally join us for that.
I probably could. We'll see. But yeah, so that's one of the things that makes a MOBA so this is what makes a MOBA so appealing, is that a good tournament game needs to at least have a very strong perception that you need a lot of skill to be good at it. And a MOBA definitely does that, because one of the ways that you're very good at a MOBA is to know everything about every character and every change that character has had. Now, for people like me, oh, that's too much work. Okay, like heck, I'm already having enough of a hard time having to realize that when I come back to League of Legends, if I play as Kayle again, I have to change the way I play Kayle because.
Well, yeah, and then and then these games have their builds for their characters. Now, one thing nice about Dota is it's like here's like 5 different builds and recommended builds for different roles, but even then it's just like holy shit. I have to learn the different builds for these different situations.
I'm gonna put a good.
Fuck.
I gotta put this out there. So I think I'm only a level 22 summoner or something like that. I'm still a very strong, very big beginner, and if I come back, I'm more of a noob than I was before. And
oh, dude, if you and I play Dota or League, we're just gonna get wrecked. Bad.
I stand a better chance at League because at least I know some things that can prevent me from getting killed. But So, example. I'm just gonna use the same examples before. So the main character that I play a lot as in League is Kayle, and back last year when it was season 3 or something, that Kayle had the potential to be a very good, kind of an underdog character because if you build her AP, or if you build her magic ability, I'm gonna avoid the jargon. If you build her magic ability, she can be quite unstoppable and just demolish everybody. So, and Kaylee also makes for a very good tanky support, is another way of putting it. And problem is that for me to be good at her, I have to learn what she can do and what she can't do. I also have to learn about which characters give her an extremely hard time, and I just have to play it safe because one of the beginner mistakes is picking the wrong fight. If you pick the wrong fight, you're dead, and this is one of the things that makes the game really cool but really hard to master, is knowing who you're good against. So, there's all of that. Then you got to read up guides, read up builds, memorize your builds, and you have to and they're situational. They're situational as well, because you can't say, "Oh, I'm just going to go with this checklist." No, with the MOBA, you don't checklist things. You have to build situational. And so I had all of this locked into my head after about 3 months, and then I found out in Season 4 that they tuned down her magic abilities and buffed up her healing abilities, which means if I come back, I have to change the way I play.
So
which is the upkeep.
This is exactly why I am so fucking excited for Heroes of the Storm. I really enjoy playing Dota, and League, if it weren't for its horrible community, I would have had probably fun with it too. Well, discussion for another day.
Oh man, if you guys think Call of Duty is bad, oh man, League's worse.
But I'm looking at Heroes of the Storm, and it's doing so many, they've even said, this is not meant to compete with League or Dota, this is meant to be the casual MOBA. And I love
the Smash Brothers game.
And I love the fucking idea behind that, because the shit I hate about MOBA is exactly what you said, where it's like, okay, I haven't played Dota in 2 months, so I want to learn what is Skeleton King's build, what is he good at, versus, there is no item store in Dota. It's you level up, and once you hit a certain level, okay, here's a list of skills. Which one is good for the current fight you're in? And I also like the fact that in a MOBA, if someone on your team sucks ass, or at least in Dota and League, they're doing what is known as feeding, which is where they just keep dying and giving the other team experience.
Yeah.
So they're doing what is known as feeding. It could really hurt your team, because that means someone on their team is going to have a really high level character and start kicking ass, and that means they'll kill creep faster, and they'll take down the towers faster, and then they'll get to your base faster, and you'll lose. The Heroes of the Storm, everyone shares a level, so that means you level up together, and so no one's too far behind, and if someone's feeding, it doesn't hurt you as bad. Another thing I like is the fact that there's multiple maps. Dota and League just have a map. But
I mean, that's what makes it competitive, because you only have one standardized tournament map. But for fun, that's kind of a little boring. Let's have something dumb.
Hey, all right, Anthony, let me pitch this at you. There's a ghost pirate ship on the map, and if you bring them enough gold, they'll start firing at the enemy team and give you an advantage.
That seems very Smash Brothers like. That's pretty cool. Yeah. That sounds fun.
So that's why I'm like even if this didn't have Blizzard characters in it, I would still be really excited, because a lot of that stuff sounds really cool and really
when
fun
you
to
said
play.
that, the next thing I thought of was like, what if Nintendo did this? It's gonna be really weird though, just like watching Mario. It's like Smash Brothers. You have a Super Smash just blows through the middle lane and just smashes the tower to pieces.
So I will say one of my favorite game modes from Dota and League is you have to do it in custom games, but all random heroes, everyone middle.
Ooh, yeah, I haven't done that before.
It's so much fun. It is just stupid as hell, but it's so much fun. Anyway,
actually, you know what? There's a reason why that mode exists. Is that it's one of those. I noticed this all the time when I played back in League. Is that if your team is losing, One of the things that beginners like to do is, and I guess some of the professionals do also, is you gather everybody in the middle. So that way you have all the firepower that you can possibly have, and then you just charge down the middle of the map and hope that the other team doesn't completely destroy you. The problem with that tactic is the other team usually destroys you, because by the time that your team does that tactic, they're already so far ahead that they'll just burst you to death. Yeah, anyways, that's something kind of funny. But that's where the fun comes in, because it's just kind of tense. Sometimes everyone would just gather in just one lane and just have one giant standoff, and the last person standing is the one that's going to get the pretty big advantage for the next minute or two.
So I'm always going to remember the one Penny Arcade comment. It's just like, dude, forget playing the normal way. It's all about everyone goes. It's like random heroes all middle, and it's just like, and then it shows them as like a marshmallow character and this one chick with a small shield and a dagger. And Jerry's like, I don't even remember buying this character. It's like, I don't have any abilities, and I don't give a shit. Like, oh my god. So anyway. One last little thing with this MOBA topic / competitive gaming topic. Anthony, is it just me, or is it weird that Hearthstone has just like exploded in popularity?
That is very interesting. When you said Hearthstone's number 3, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Like what? StarCraft 2 is not up there?
No. The top 5 right now are. Hold on, let me pull up the page again. By the way, Nick, you should try Hearthstone. It's really good.
It's a trading card game.
It's not into those games.
Dude, it's so much fun, though. Alright, so the top 5 right now for competitive games are League of Legends, Dota 2, Hearthstone, Call of Duty Ghosts, Street Fighter 4.
Wow.
Overall, including single player, it's League of Legends, Dota 2, Hearthstone, Papers, Please, Call of Duty Ghosts, Diablo, Street Fighter, Counter-Strike.
Diablo's recently gotten quite popular again since the expansion came out.
It's the expansion and that new patch they put out where everything has a way higher drop rate.
Okay.
Anthony, I encourage you to play Hearthstone. It's fun. Like it's not a game that like. It's almost encouraged me to want to buy an iPad.
Really?
I'm not gonna buy one, but God, like, and also they're putting it on the phone anyway, so I don't have to worry. But like, if that game was portable, oh my God, just like it's really good, and it reminds me a lot of like Magic the Gathering, but a little more accessible and faster paced. I'm not very good at it, but it's still a lot of fun. Also, I love the cards will emote because it's a video game. So like I love when you summon the Stormwind Knight, he just goes, "Behold the might of Stormwind," and it is hilarious. I don't know, Anthony. You and I should play some Hearthstone this weekend.
Okay, we'll see.
Anyway, we got comments and questions.
Woo!
First one is from Jsway. TGA is going to E3. I was wondering when the whole staff would make it out with Nick being an E3 alumni. I'm sure we'll have some great content from you guys. We're already planning. We're already excited.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, I'm excited every year to go to E3, but to have the whole staff this time, it's going to be freaking awesome.
So, next up is Jenny Smith. So excited for you guys. Looking forward to seeing the content you produce, and cannot wait for E3. What are you guys looking forward to most? So I am excited for Atlas, that's for sure. I want to try Persona 4 Arena. Or hold on, let me say the full title because I always said I would until it's out. Persona 4: The Ultra Ultimax Suplex Hold.
Wow.
I'm excited for that. I'm really excited for that. I want to see the new Batman so bad. That trailer, like, I'm a huge Batman fan. As I've said earlier in the podcast, the comics, the DVDs, the animated series, I love Batman. And this new game just it looks beautiful.
It does look really good.
And then I guess if there's a third thing, I would love to see that Halo collection and what the multiplayer is on it. Oh, and Heroes of the Storm. Like Smash Brothers MOBA sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'm like for me, I'm really excited, and I'm obviously excited, super excited for Sony and Microsoft. Like, see what they show off. Like, I love going to E3, but attending the Sony and Microsoft press conference, which we're all gonna be at, it's just like literally like you're in line walking in, you're like, holy shit, guys! It's like we've been waiting for all year. We're about to see it, and the conference starts, and it's like before you know it, the conference is already over, and you're like, oh man, another year I have to wait. But it's or you end up with like Microsoft's conference. What was it, 2010, where they were like really showing the Kinect and connectables, and then when it ended, you're just like, fuck, that sucked.
No, you're like, yeah, free Xbox.
yeah, free Xbox. Microsoft's awesome. Forget their terrible press conference.
They bought us out with free systems. Of course, they're not going to do it with Xbox Ones because, oh my goodness, that expensive. Unless they give out the cheap version, which would suck for me because then I don't have a convenient way of navigating the world's most awful interface.
Ugh. Yeah, but think of it this way. You just got a free next-gen console, so... Yeah, think of it this way. Your Xbox
Can't really complain about free, huh?
Yeah, and like a Kinect will only be like $150 to $200. So I mean,
or I can just live without one and just figure out ways around the interface.
Yeah.
They definitely won't do that. Pretty much everyone that's gonna be at that press conference already has one anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, God knows how far into the 360's life was that. They're still going to free.
Well, but yeah, but it was like a new model.
It was a slim. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they were doing that.
It was the first slim.
Yeah.
I ended up buying a Slim a year and a half later. This generation went on so long that my consoles, I had to upgrade midway through the generation. So let's see.
Things that I am. Sorry, what?
Yeah. What are you excited to see at E3, Anthony? Like games in particular, or?
Well, there's.
Are you excited to play Smash because it is going to be playable?
Yeah, that's going to be really cool. That's going to be really cool. I look forward to that, but for some reason that isn't exactly causing me to, like, burst with excitement right now. Like, it's going to be really cool being at E3 and just being there to play all the demos that for some reason they never let the rest of the gaming world ever experience. I don't know why. It's just like, demos, guys.
Well,
like, demos.
Well, the reason why is these aren't... So the demos that you play at E3 aren't the demos that are released onto these stores for the PlayStation and Xbox. Like, when they release a demo onto the PlayStation Store, Xbox Live, that's a demo of the final build. They just cut out a large portion of the game. Demos at E3 are sometimes pre-alpha, alpha, rarely ever even to the beta stage. They're all pre-alpha and alpha. So these games, there's going to be glitches, there's going to be all these issues, and you just can't have the normal public playing that because the thing with that is public doesn't seem to understand that, hey, this is pre-alpha, it's not how the game's going to run, it's going to look a lot better by launch. I mean, look at how people complain with betas. Well, with pre-alpha and alpha, it's a lot worse. So if people were playing these pre-alpha and alpha stages of the game, they'd just be like, oh, this game's terrible, or there'd be so much negative publicity, whereas they only want the media to play it because they know that, hey, if you're attending E3, you know and understand that, hey, you might be playing this game and it might crash on you. You understand that the frame rate in this game may not be what it will be in the final game. You may realize that the graphics aren't quite up to snuff right now. Like, people that are playing it, I mean, I've seen it a million times. I'll play a game at E3, and then I'll play the final game, and the difference is just, it's monumental as far as the changes that were made between E3 and the time the game released. So, I mean, just as an example, Infamous. Played it at E3. And I have the final build. It's not even comparable. Like, it looks so much better now than it did at E3. So, I mean, I didn't have any crashes, but, I mean, the game probably didn't run quite as smooth, and the graphics weren't quite there. So, I mean, if they just released these pre-alpha and alpha stage demos into the PlayStation Store and Xbox, they'd get so much negative publicity just from the standpoint of people not really realizing what pre-alpha and alpha means. Because, I mean, with betas, whole purpose of a beta is for testing, and you'll still see all these people, oh, the game crashes, this and that. It's like, yeah, that's why it's called a beta, because they're testing things. That's why you're participating for free, because they want to get all the bugs sorted out before they release it as a final game.
Okay, so, all right, so, there isn't really any one particular game I was super stoked to see about. Yeah, Smash Bros. Would be nice, but after Smash Bros. Brawl, it's like, I don't know. What I think what I will be most excited for are games that we already know are coming, but I didn't know that I actually like. Like, who knows? Like, for example, Destiny. I kind of put Destiny my number one and most anticipated, but I kind of did that because, well, I don't know. Like, I guess it's because it's like, which one of these games look like they'll be the best? And I wasn't exactly feeling the passion for
my number one. Oh, I cannot wait.
Bayonetta 2 was my most anticipated game of the year.
Yeah, but like in the case of
that was before I got to see gameplay of Heroes of the Storm. So right now I'm kind of like up in the air between Bayonetta 2 and Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, but in the case of Destiny, I wrote that down, and you know, it was like, yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it, but it wasn't like I am super hyped for it. So who knows? Maybe I'll come into E3, play a Destiny demo, and just think, I have to get a PlayStation 4. You never know. Maybe
$500 million. Destiny, $500 million.
I mean, Anthony, that could happen because, I've been, I'll go to PAX, and some games I will just not give a shit about and play them at PAX and be like, oh my god, why am I not buying this?
Yeah, like here's the other thing too, and it could be unannounced games too. Who knows? Maybe Capcom will just go out and say, hey guys, there's a Dragon's Dogma 2, and I get to play a demo of it at E3, and then I'll be like, guys, Dragon's Dogma 2 is coming out like what, early next year or something like that. Like, it could come out early next year.
They got that game by the Dragon's Dogma team that's being worked on PS4. What's it called? It's similar. It's a similar style too.
Yeah, but whatever. Like, I actually looked up that name. I forgot what it was also, and I didn't find a single article on it. So I can have to Google search it instead of wiki search it. But yeah, but anyways, like, you never know. Maybe they walk out and say, hey guys, here's a new game from the Dragon's Dogma team, and if I play it, who knows? I'm going to be super excited. Like, it's like I am searching for that game that comes out this year or early next year that's, going to get me stoked, because right now I haven't found it yet. Like, Destiny, I don't know. But, who knows? Maybe, there could be something new from maybe playing Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain. If there's a demo of that at E3, who knows? Maybe I'll be like, this is going to be so awesome, I am totally buying a PlayStation 4 just for this.
I mean, you saw Ground Zeroes. I mean, if it's like that, but for hours on end.
Oh, well, that's what it's gonna be, and that's why I think Phantom Pain, like, even Kojima said himself, like, his like plan for this game is like, it's pretty much impossible to achieve, but they're doing it. It's just like, it's gonna be Ground Zeroes times a million. Like, it's just, oh my god, I cannot freaking wait for that game. It's
When does the Phantom Pain come out?
That's coming out this year, but I am willing to bet it gets delayed and launches spring of next year.
Yeah,
because if it comes out this year, I am. Well, guess what, Bronson? You now found a game that probably could get me to buy a PlayStation 4 this year, and then it's Destiny.
Anthony, you would have to, between Destiny and Metal Gear. Come on, like, I understand both those games will be released on the PS3 and 360, but they're not going to be there the quality.
Actually, the Phantom Pain I think is PS4 and Xbox One only.
Oh,
yeah. I think Phantom Pain might be exclusive.
Yeah, like that's why I would go out and buy a PlayStation 4, or if I'm crazy enough, buy an Xbox One, because Phantom Pain can only be played on the current gen now. So, that's a big deal. Like,
that game looks so good.
Like, there isn't, like I said, there isn't any one particular game that I'm excited about going into it. Like, for example, right now for me, there's nothing this year that gets me going.
It's probably just overall experience. You guys have never been to E3. I mean, Anthony's never been to like a real like convention. He's always been to super small like city based. Well, he's been to CES, but
yeah, but that was really corporate, and that was just general tech.
Though. Now, as far as gaming, he hasn't been to like a. I mean, the good news is the E3 is not as big as CES. I mean, E3 is about, I'd say, probably a third of the size.
Oh my goodness, CES is so huge, and I freaking only saw what was in the convention center. I didn't go to the Venetian, and saw like the other final like 25-30% of it. Like freaking the Las Vegas, like to walk from one side of the Las Vegas Convention Center on the what was it, the North Hall, all the way to the South Hall is like 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes. And that's assuming you don't get held up by huge crowds of people. And in addition to that, the South Hall is absolutely colossal. Like, here's the thing. It's so big that I didn't know there was a convenient way to go from South Hall to North Hall via these golf cart taxis.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until like I was across an air, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, they have golf cart taxis between the North and South Hall. Man, that would have saved me and Bridget so much walking. But
yeah, those are really convenient.
But yeah, so
and then I know Bronson, he's been to PAX Prime, so like E3, I'd say E3 is about like 2.5 times the size of PAX Prime.
God, are we including the like outer hotels, like the Red Line and shit, or just the main floor?
Oh yeah, because they have E3. They have stuff outside the convention center too.
Oh my God, just like I don't like PAX is, in my opinion, PAX is
more for the community, because you got to realize. It's like I was talking about before, like, a game company is not going to take their game to PAX unless it's at least in beta form. They're not going to be showing a pre-alpha build unless it's behind closed doors just for the media, because they don't want to get bad publicity for their game that's still in development. So when you go to E3, you can't buy tickets. Well, I guess you can buy tickets to E3 now, but they're extremely expensive and outrageous. And even then, even if you buy them, I think you have to have some form of qualification. But E3, that's where everything's being announced. That's where Sony and Microsoft are going to announce their big games. That's where they're going to be showing off all these games. This is where most games will be playable for the very first time. And it's all taking place all in one convention center. It's, oh my gosh. E3 is something that you just can never get tired of. Like CES, like, yeah, I wanna definitely attend CES next year, and hopefully we can, and I'd be excited. But it's like with CES, it's like, yeah, it's technology, like, you know kind of what you're going into, whereas with E3, it's just every game delivers a fresh new experience. It's just E3 by far is my favorite event to attend. It's the best. There's nothing that even comes close.
All right, I'm gonna be curious to see how I rank it next to PAX. Like that's gonna be my point of comparison.
Well, that's not exactly a fair comparison, because E3 is a trade show.
Oh yeah,
PAX is a gathering of gaming culture.
Yeah, I get that. Like, I am saying that like which event I prefer to attend, though. You know, like that'll be the question. But anyway, we got one more question from Solid Kratos. You know, we not on the page, but I wished him a happy birthday. We wished him a happy birthday last week. Or not happy birthday, happy graduation last week.
Happy graduation, yeah.
Jesus, I don't know why it's his birthday, whatever. Happy graduation last week, and I asked him for permission if it was okay if we put it in the show, and he was cool with it. And he wanted to know, do we have any advice for college?
I know Anthony loves this question.
Get someone else to pay for it.
Well, this question is hard for me to answer because there are many viewpoints on college.
Just make sure you know 100% what you want to do before you start taking too many classes.
Here's the thing. Okay, so that's a pretty good point. So here's what I want to say. A lot of people, myself included, think that you know what you want to do for a career when you go in, only to find out that they really don't like it, and then have to change halfway through. One of the problems about changing your major is that you're spending more time in college when you change your major, because you probably have to restart your classes from like the 200 level or 100 level again and work your way up, and that costs money because now you've got extra credits. So research, like look on the internet, look up what you're studying is actually about. Because here's the thing, when I went into computer science, I thought, oh, it's about coding, and I want to make games. And it seems pretty cool because the computer world always needs computer science people, because computer science is a difficult field that doesn't have many people in it, and because technology is such an important part of our lives now, they just can't find enough. Heck, you get a top 5 starting, the career has one of the top 5 starting salaries. Was what I heard back when I started, and that's great and all. But here's the thing: a lot of people think computer science is just coding. It's like, oh, you just write code, you make programs, you make magic happen on a computer. Is basically what you're doing. But what you don't know is that there's theory to it too, logic theory. Like you're learning stuff like mathematical induction. You're learning stuff like logic to make sure that the logic is absolutely correct, because you sure as hell don't want a computer bug to cost a bank $1 billion. Just one little bug. So and it's theory and it's research, and it's like you got to make sure that anybody can write code that works, but the ones who are good also write code that is optimized for this platform, that is efficient, that is clean, stuff like that.
On the other end, as a journalism major who, if I go with my current plan, I'll probably graduate in 2018. And I kind of regret going straight into college after high school. And the reason is I was already tired of school by the time I ended high school. So going back to more school was just incredibly exhausting. And I actually almost encourage people to take a year off and go work, or if you have the finances, go do something else for a year, to kind of decide what you want to do or what you actually want your major to be. And like Anthony said, study up on it and shit. And get away from school for a little bit, because I can tell you right now, going straight back into school was the fastest way to burn me out on school.
Now,
and it's not that it was hard. Like, I was a journalism major, dude. Journalism is not a hard major. In fact, half of it is just learning ethics. But the thing is I kind of like learning on my own. Like, I'm very much just shut up, give me a textbook, and leave me the fuck alone. And that is not, which is why I also take a lot of online classes. So I think that getting, if you can take the opportunity, even if it's just you enroll in the spring instead of the fall, I think getting a little bit of a distance away from school for a little bit would help.
Now, from the perspective
because to give you more time to figure out what you want to do, start taking your classes. Just focus on taking your prerequisites. Like, get your English done, get your math done, get your sciences done, your history. Get all those classes you need to get done. Get those out of the way when you're scheduling your classes. Make sure you're getting, your first year, all you should be doing is English, math, science. Second year, same thing. And yes, you'll have a couple electives, which could be based off whatever major you want to go to, but don't fully commit to your major. You can take a couple years in college to focus on getting what you need to get out of the way. It's required regardless of whatever major you pick.
Yeah, I actually kind of when I go back, I have to go to 2 more semesters of math, and I'm just fucking dreading that. Just oh god, more calculus.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking right now. Is, oh Christ, two more semesters of calc. Just what I want.
My perspective is quite different because, well, I'm more mathematically. I'm more capable mathematically. Like everyone's different. Like in my case, going back to the research thing, that part can be very important. It can save you a lot of money. It can it can really help you decide whether a career is viable or not, and that is an extremely important part. Okay, and here's why. Back when when you're a high school student, it's tempting to not study up because a lot of things have been provided for you, but then once you get into college you realize how important it is to do research to make sure you're not making mistakes. When I was in high school, there were two career paths in front of me. One was the engineering path, and one was to be an airline pilot. I wanted to be an airline pilot because when I was in middle school and going through much of high school, I loved flying airplanes and Flight Simulator 2004. I loved downloading Boeing 747s on the internet, putting them in, and just flying big passenger jets through the sky and landing them wherever I want in the world. It's great. I loved it, and I loved it for a long time. So I thought about being a pilot, and one of the schools that I thought about going to was this aeronautical university down in Prescott, Arizona. Now,
real quick interjection here. That's another also. Pick your fucking school wisely.
Okay. That's a very good.
That is like, yo, bro. If you are tight on cash, there is nothing wrong with those first 2 years at a community college.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah. Because this is a thing. When you get your degree, let's say you take your first 2 years at a community college, then you transfer to a university and get your degree. On your degree, it's not going to say you went to community college. It's going to show that you got your degree from whatever college you graduated from.
Yeah, and comparison.
Just make sure your credits transfer. You need to make sure when taking classes, make sure the classes you take at a community college will transfer to a university, whatever university you want to go to.
Like in comparison, like if I let's say instead of doing my 2 years of community college then transferring to university, like I would have been like $25,000 in debt. Versus when I'm done with university, be it at UNR or in state at Washington, it'll be roughly like 12,000-ish, in debt. Okay, that's a $10,000 difference, sir. $10,000 is a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
And that's like the next thing. Like, I cannot stress how fucking expensive college is. Like, and Anthony and I had fucking scholarships. Can you, God almighty, imagine without those?
Right, so, yeah, but anyways, like, I need to finish my story. So, I was considering going to an aeronautical university and studying for aeronautical sciences, which is a fancy way of saying how to be a pilot. that was a fancy way of saying how to be a pilot, aeronautical sciences. So I wanted to be an airline pilot, and there were several reasons that forced me to never pursue that career path. First off, it was the late 2000s, and let's be honest here, economy's not doing great. Airlines aren't.
Dude, well, you remember when we're in, also, it's a little different now. Economy still sucks, but it's not as bad.
It's better.
It's not. I prefer the term "not as bad." The economy's still fucking crap, but it's not as bad. And when we enrolled, the only way it could have been worse if it was 2008, 2009. You just still in a horrible pit though. So, going in, be like, I'm going to be a pilot, would have been basically saying, I want to be homeless.
Yeah, actually, the story gets worse, actually. So, first off, you're trying to be an airline pilot where airlines are losing money, and you got to remember that most of the major a lot of the major airlines in the United States in the past decade or decade and a half they have declared bankruptcy. So, they're not making good money because of fuel prices and whatever. So, they're not really going to hire people. In addition, if you do somehow graduate from this school and next step is to get a job, well, here's the problem. You're competing against the Air Force. Okay? Now, you think about it. You've got Air Force pilots who are very well trained in fighter jets. And then you got some guy that just came out of a school on how to fly. You're probably going to go with the Air Force pilot because they got more airmanship than you. Okay, so let's say that you somehow get past that barrier and get into a job. Well, here's the problem with the airline industry job. Because everyone wants to be a pilot like you get paid like shit. You get paid very poorly. And you don't start by flying big planes. You start by flying little commuter jets, like the cramped one that Bronson and I sat in from San Francisco to Fresno to Las Vegas. That tiny little commuter jet that was really loud and deafened our ears. That is what you start flying in, and you don't get paid very much either. So you have to go through all this study, all this work, only to start out flying in tiny little planes, and you got to keep doing it for years and years and years with poor pay. Then you get into a major airline.
Let's not forget, when you're a pilot, you're living in hotels.
You're living in hotels, and you know what? I think that comes out of your pocket. So you've got poor pay.
Oh no, they cover that.
No, they put you up.
Okay, maybe okay. They cover your hotel, but even then, you're still not getting paid very much. Then you get to a major airline.
How much do pilots get paid? What's the average salary?
$150 per flight hour. You don't get paid an hourly wage the way that people think. You get paid only when that plane is in the air, which isn't a lot when you think about it. There's probably a guarantee, but now they say ooh, $150 an hour. That's so much. That's only because the plane is off the ground. You think about it, your life as a pilot probably is as much time on the ground because you're stuck in the airport all the time because it's a little rainy outside. But anyway, so you don't get paid very much, and to get that six-figure salary, you gotta have to spend 15 years with the major airline like United or American or Southwest. That's when you finally get your six-figure salary. So you get poor pay, and here's the thing that ultimately stopped me. The aeronautical college was asking $45,000 or $50,000 per year.
Holy crap!
That's including room and board. That's including tuition. It was like me walking up to my parents and saying, "Hey, Mom and Dad, can you buy me a new luxury car every year?" No. No. It just isn't worth it. And that's why I didn't pursue that path, and I'm kind of happy I didn't, because I would have been bankrupt trying to do that without some serious help or something like that. But anyways, that's the value in making sure that your career somehow has a future in it, okay? In the case of engineering, if you pursue engineering, you're looking pretty good, because they're always looking for engineers, and it's a really hard thing to master. So, they need engineers. The world needs engineers, and there just aren't enough of them, it seems. Whereas if you were to pursue something like music as your major, that's going to be difficult.
I wouldn't even say that's
what's the average salary of a computer engineer?
Your starting salary, according to last time I checked, your starting salary is $60,000 a year, which is very good.
So that's not bad for starting.
Assuming that you can get in, but that's an entirely different story. That's just some average number they came up with.
Yeah, another thing that's really important is you need to keep in mind, where do you want to live a majority of your life, because a lot of jobs are based off location. So obviously, if you're wanting to get into entertainment, then you need to be able to plan for either living in the Los Angeles area, New York, or parts of Atlanta. And that's another thing you need to keep in mind is, hey, okay, I'm going to plan to work in LA. Well, you need to make sure whatever job you're pursuing, the pay is great, because if you're making, just an example, if you're making $45,000 in North Carolina a year, but you're earning $45,000 in LA, it's kind of hard to live off $45,000 a year in LA with the cost of living out here. Can you do it? Yes. Comfortably? Not really. $45,000 North Carolina, you can live pretty comfortably by yourself. Well, I forgot the translation, but $45,000 in North Carolina is making $32,000 in LA.
So
just because of the price. It might even be lower than that. It might be like 20-something thousand. So you need to keep that in mind and really kind of decide, hey, where do I want to live the majority of my life? Because there are, sure, computer engineering. You can find computer engineering jobs all across the country, all across the world, but there are some jobs that tend to be more geographically located.
Like for instance, to interject here, I'm an English major and minor in journalism, and so like if you're gonna be a journalism major, like major cities, San Francisco, Denver, New York, Baltimore, Seattle, Chicago, like big fucking cities. English major, it means you're probably going to teach or be a paralegal, so you're fine anywhere. Median salary for either. So the thing about teaching, though, is the median salary changes so much from city to city. Like in Reno, the median salary for a teacher is around $40,000. In Seattle, the median salary for a teacher is $65,000. So
now, when you're saying teacher, you're talking about like college professor, right?
No, like the high school.
Oh wow! I didn't think they got paid. I mean, 40,000 sounds right. I didn't know they got paid like 65,000. That seems high.
Well, that's because Seattle actually invests in education. Also, like, chances are, if you're listening to this, you want to get into game design. I cannot encourage this enough.
For game design, Seattle is huge.
First off, Seattle, yes, or California.
Yeah, or the LA area. I mean, there's plenty of studios in there's Sony Santa Monica, Naughty Dogs in Santa Monica. There's a couple other studios in Santa Monica.
Bay Area isn't bad either.
For anything gaming related, San Francisco, Seattle, and LA are your big time cities.
I have several friends who went to DigiPen. It's pretty much the premier game design school in the country. If you can get in and you can afford it,
Sale's really good too.
They are great also, but I could not preach DigiPen enough. I have friends who go there. And I've played the games they make for class, and yeah, they're like, this is a project made by 4 people in 5 months. But they're not bad, and if you go into their websites, some of their student projects are actually kind of impressive. And like I said, like for game design, I cannot stress how important it is to go to a specialized school. Because Anthony, I know you wanted to make games, but from what you have told me, a standard university, like the University of Nevada, Nevada Reno, though. We're the real University of Nevada. Shove off.
The real University of Nevada apparently has a really late football team because we lost against that community college down south.
Shut up. We punked them for like 10 years in a row.
I think we lost the most recent game, though.
You guys lost to community college in football?
No,
That's pretty bad.
No, we make fun of the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, because they're terrible.
It's a glorified community college.
Basically.
Even though it has like more students than us, but that doesn't matter.
Well, yeah.
Okay, here's what I could say about... Here's the thing that I've learned. Universities, oh man, they are so diverse. Like, what I say about the program at my university is probably not going to apply at any other university, but here's from my experience. It's a good idea to look at if you're going to look into studying games and you're thinking about programming games and you think, I'm going to study computer science, you might want to check if they actually offer gaming classes. And it's also important to look at how much they care about it. Because here's the thing. A university's engineering department, they specialize in research. That's what the professors do. Professors are, tenured professors. They are paid to do research, and they are also paid to teach. That's what their job description is. And it's important to pay attention to what the people in that department do. For example, at the University of Nevada, Reno, the computer science department specializes in a various amount of things such as software engineering, computer vision, and human-computer interaction. But you're not going to find much on games. There are some game classes, and they are some fun, yes. But you can kind of tell that gaming teaching is actually it's quite weak, and it's probably kind of dying because, I mean, gaming research isn't really there as far as I could tell, and there aren't that many gaming classes. Whereas if you looked at robotics, yeah, got robotics. You got professors that are totally onto robotics, and you got professors that are totally looking at computer vision or totally doing cool things. Whereas gaming is kind of slowly dying out. So you need to keep an eye. You need to keep an eye on that, because if you're looking to games, you probably want something that specializes in games.
I wanted to ask you this question. So if you were given the opportunity to, like, I know you wanted to make games originally. If you had the money, your parents had the money to pay for it, and your scholarships were cool with it, would you have done college at DigiPen or a Full Sail?
That really depends, because having
Where's DigiPen located?
It's in Kirkland.
It's up in the Seattle area. Well, actually, I don't know the answer to that question, or at least I'm not too sure, because here's the thing. It all kind of goes back to, what do you like doing? Because it's really painful when you are forcing yourself to do something really hard that you don't really care about. It's like, what do you really like to do? And but that's kind of like a bit of a hard spot, because it's like you have a choice between doing something that gives you a good future, and then there's doing what you love but could not get you anything in life, like being a music composer. That's going to be very difficult.
Or like, I believe you get a degree in underwater basket weaving. Sounds cool if that's like your kind of thing, but I don't know how you're really gonna get paid doing that.
So,
yeah,
like,
I heard that there's one college that offers a degree in like something related to Harry Potter. I'm like, what? Like, what do you do with something like that?
Dude, Cal Berkeley has like esports classes.
There was a school down in Florida, I think, that started teaching players how to play StarCraft.
Like,
which okay,
it's like, I'm sorry, but I don't care how much of like a fan of gaming you are. Like, how can you not laugh at that?
Anyways, so would I go to DigiPen? Well, I don't know, because something that I learned about some college students is that some of them don't even know what they want to do, which I feel is a major worry, because it's like, you need to know what your direction is, or else you're wasting a lot of time. Or at least that's how I personally feel.
I'm saying with the hindsight you have now, because I mean, like, obviously you're going to the computer engineering field, but I mean, obviously you're going to computer engineering, but I know that if you can get a job in games, you'd like a job in games. So, like that's why I asked, because,
would I go to DigiPen to study computer science, but with a big emphasis on actual games like they are up there?
Yeah. Because I think
I would be okay with it, but I think I would still feel the same as I do now, where I'm okay with programming. I'm okay at it, and I'm okay with doing it as a career, because heck, if I hated it, I would have changed my major a long time ago, and but I stuck through with it still, and hey, I'm going to finish now. I'll still be okay with it, but what I've learned is that I'm okay at programming, and I'm okay with it being my career, but what I really love doing is more artistic. And more artistic, not in the sense that I want to, like, draw or do level design. Like, one thing that I've learned about myself throughout the gaming classes that I took is that I am a garbage game designer. I am a terrible game designer. You don't want me designing your gameplay mechanics because I am very unimaginative. Like, yeah, like you don't want me doing that. However, what I want to do is be on the more presentational side. Like, like the stuff that, like I dream of stuff. I dream of one day doing something like Mass Effect. Like Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2. Like stuff like that gets me going. Like I would love to do stuff like that. More like on I would say more like cutscene director. I don't know. Anyways, original question. Would I go to DigiPen? Probably not, because I probably would have gone to DigiPen for the same reason, which is to study computer science and programming, and I probably would have felt the same about it there as I have here. Maybe it would be slightly better because it's actually DigiPen, it's on video games, and I'm around people who actually like games, so it's like, yeah, cooler community. But other than that, I don't know. Probably not. If everything is covered for, sure, I would go. But life's not like that, so
yeah,
I wouldn't go.
Life comes with a $50,000 bill.
Yeah, like if everything is covered, like just full sponsorships, full scholarship to DigiPen, yeah, I would totally do it. Who wouldn't? I mean, like who wouldn't? But
I'm pretty sure I wouldn't because I'm terrible at programming and at art, so it'd be kind of a waste of money for me.
Yeah, and here's the other thing too that I find to be quite important. If DigiPen somehow had a full-on campus in Reno, I still wouldn't be sure if I wanted to go, because here's something that's very important. When you graduate with your degree, it's very important about how valuable that degree is. Because here's the thing. Student graduates from Harvard. Hell yeah, you would hire the guy from Harvard, right? In like, for short-sightedness, you would totally hire the guy from Harvard. Harvard is expensive. Harvard is like a top school in the country. Accreditation and ranking is very important. Like how good is the computer science degree at that university?
They're rated pretty highly, from what I've heard anyway.
You need to look at that, because here's the thing: is your school great, and how good is your program? Like I'm pretty fortunate to live locally with the same university that has a very good engineering school. From what I heard, we've got a very good engineering school. Like when we had projects on display, we would have like people secretly from outside the country fly in from the other side of the Pacific Ocean just so they could look at some of these projects and find some potential employees in them. Like that's what a good degree can get you. So, and when you're looking at applying at a game company, I feel like it's the same thing. If you come from a good school, that is a big deal. So
I'm just saying, there's some pretty good college majors out there. I'm looking here, you can get a degree in cannabis cultivation from Oakland, of course, California. We would. In Liverpool, England, you can get a degree in the Beatles. Beatles historian.
That goes back to researching the career path of what major you're picking.
Yeah, that goes back to that. You get a degree as a Beatles historian. That doesn't open many job opportunities.
I want to be a Beatles historian. So, Anthony, to answer your question, DigiPen was ranked the second best college for game design the past 3 years. It doesn't say. And out of all the colleges in the world, they are out of 21,000 world colleges, they were ranked 4,000th.
Okay, like that's kind of important. I don't know. Ultimately, college is a really, really, really hard subject for me to answer things on. Because, let's be honest here, if I could spew my mouth on everything I wanted to say about college, some of it might seem a little stupid. So, I am not the person to ask for college advice. I mean, heck, yes, I've been in college longer than just about everyone else on the staff, I think. But that doesn't exactly make me qualified to give advice. I mean, I'm not an expert at this. I mean, I go to school and work my hardest, and hopefully get a good career out of it. Like, that's what I do. I'm not a person who has planned other people's majors. It's just that. But what I can say is that definitely know what you want to do when you go in, and look at whether it's worth it. Because if you're planning to be a musician, a college degree is probably not going to get you much. And not to mention, it's probably not worth it or something like that.
For something such as music, a college degree is kind of worthless because, I mean, unless you're looking to be like maybe like a music teacher or something like that, that's purely your work and talent. Like, if it becomes like you signing with a record label or something like that, they don't care that you have a college degree. They're gonna look at your talent and figure out if you have the talent to become big.
So as for like, I know this question is going to be asked because of this. If you want to do what we do, or like, let's say you want to work at IGN or Giant Bomb or any one of these major publications, there's basically two routes you can go. There is the Jeff Gersman TGA path where you just start writing and then you meet someone and then you just keep pounding your head against the wall until someone hires you or your personal blog / YouTube / whatever gets popular. Or there's what I call the Greg Miller route, which is where you go major in journalism at one of the better journalism schools in the country, then write for a crappy paper for 2 years, and then on to IGN or Kotaku or wherever it is that's hiring at the time. Both ways are a shit ton of work. Both ways are entirely valid. As someone who is taking journalism classes, let me tell you right now, prepare to talk about ethics a lot. And I mean a lot. Like you will spend weeks talking about fucking ethics. Also, Journalism 101 talks a lot about history and how different types of media work. The thing about art, the thing about the school I went to, in my opinion, it was a little behind, because we talked about the internet as new media, and how new media is getting more popular, and I'm like, dude, print is dead.
Print is dead. It's all about online.
It is. I'm sitting here, in this class, reading this textbook, and I'm like...
Well, when was that textbook made?
It was made, I was in that class...
10 years ago, things were drastically different.
That textbook is, at the time, it was, a year old, and it was 2011, so it was from 2010.
That author needs to catch up.
Well, these classes need to catch up. Also, Anthony, to what you were saying earlier about DigiPen, if you're trying to get a career in the game industry, DigiPen looks fucking amazing on your resume. It's everywhere else.
That's the thing about school. Taking anything related to, an ever-changing industry is kind of difficult just from the standpoint of it's not like they just they have to, get it approved into the curriculum. Stuff like business management, I've taken many business classes. Stuff like that doesn't change. I mean, some parts change, but for the most part, it stays pretty static. Everyone has their own techniques, and some techniques work better than others. But for the most part, as far as business ethics and legality and all that stuff pretty much remains the same. But something such as media is changing all the time.
I mean, it's, once again, our, this career path that we're on with TGA, and most games, every person I've ever talked to that's a game journalist, no matter what fucking level they are at, how they got into it, it's just a different story every time. Every single person, some people took the direct college route, some people took fucking the route we're going, some people were kind of this weird mix in between, somebody was working for PR for a company, and they knew someone at some other company, and they fucking decided to write about games. Also, as a journalism major, you're going to be, prepare to work on Macs.
Which is a good thing.
It didn't bother me, and in some ways I got spoiled by certain things by working in Macs in the computer labs. It was really fucking annoying anytime I had to bring anything home, though, because then I had to, check out one of their fucking laptops and shit.
Well, what application were you using?
Like sometimes, like we had to use fucking iMovie at first, and then they would graduate us to other shit, which then I could use
gotcha.
my computer, which was fine. But and then like one of my favorite assignments was like they were teaching us about like new media, and one of the things was podcasting, and I was just like, okay, sure. You were going to teach me about podcasting. All right. This should be good. Tell me, how do you podcast?
Yeah, that was me in like my first business class. Like, I've always been a business savvy person. I don't know, something I was kind of just born with and kind of forced into. Because I mean, anyone who's been a long fan of this website is Gamer Access has been around for over 5 years now. I started this website when I was 14 years old. 14 years old, I discovered a way to build my own website. Like I started with a blog spot, but eventually one thing led to another, and I kept building and building and building. I didn't take any classes or anything on this. I mean, I was in middle school when I started, so I mean, I learned how to build my own website. I learned how to make connections with PR companies. I learned how to manage staff members. I learned how to do podcasting. I learned how to do all of this stuff self-taught. So it's like I kind of built that business personality, and so I took my first business class in college, and I'm just like, duh, to like everything that teacher said. I'm like, yeah, that's common sense. You can't do this, you can do that. Like I was like, yeah, that's like common sense. Or like way like businesses, like how they work with like financial reports, all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, it's duh.
It's funny that you say that because it's very similar to me with any like writing course when it comes to, or any creative course, because I didn't have a lot of business sense for fucking this particular job, but goddamn, dude, like I have ideas for days. I mean, like seriously, like TGA will never run out of show ideas as long as I'm here, at least. Like just, like you can fucking ask Anthony if like Anthony, can you confirm the fact that if we had to do this full time and had gave you and I a decent budget, dear God, some of the shit we could make.
Yeah.
Like, and like so, contacting PR companies and doing the business end was always kind of the part that was kind of, I didn't pick it up as quick, but the creative end I picked up fine. Like I hosted my first podcast and I got good at hosting relatively quickly. And same thing with speaking on camera. Granted, I've listened to but before that, I think a lot of that's because I was listening to podcasts for years. And I listened to the master, rest in peace, Ryan Davis. Still to this day, I don't think there's a better podcast host than Ryan Davis. Dude was like, you listen to that podcast now, and it's still really good, but it's not as good as it's. No replacing that dude. And a lot of hosting work I find is knowing when to let someone talk or knowing when to like find the joke.
Right.
Like Anthony and snowballing.
Snowballing. Oh man. Or the strippers. We don't need the strippers anymore. Thanks, PlayStation.
Nope. They stripped it for us.
Yep. Sony provided the stripness for us.
Yep.
Now we have 24/7 stripping.
Yep. Stripping all day, every day. Oh man.
Why? Oh man.
Oh, by the way, I price checked. So we talked about those eating challenges for E3. I price checked one of those giant Rice Krispies. They're $11. At least at 7-Eleven.
I don't know if I really want to eat those Rice Krispies.
Well, we We need to find something we can all agree on.
Okay.
Like you can't eat ice cream because it's too sweet, and I don't. And like every time I've ever done an eating challenge that involves meat, it's just bad.
Yeah,
So,
I can eat a ton of meat.
Like, I have no problem devouring down burgers, so it's like, oh, Nick, noise, thanks. Yeah, so, back to the original topic, I'll just say it again, I am not, the person to go to for college advice, because, let's be honest, a lot of people have a lot of different opinions about how college went. For some people who went through the same path as me, college was great. Lots of fun. You get to make games, you get to learn lots of important skills, and you're going to head into industry, and you're going to have a pretty darn good career. Like, some people will have that viewpoint. And, there are others there were lots of people who have fallen off the major and thought that, it's not for them, or it's too hard, or the professors drove them insane. There are so many different stories. And it's just, I don't want to fully share my story because, well, to be honest, let's be honest here.
I mean,
there's 20,000. There's 20,000 of you listening to this. So if I say some really dumb shit, someone is going to find out.
I think on the other end of this, I was, I was an English and journalism major, and I've taken an extended break here, and I wasn't super fond of college. On the other hand, my friend Marina, who she's up at the university, and she's in a sorority, and she's going to graduate. I want to say it's next year, with a bachelor's in journalism. She fucking absolutely loves college and adores it, and I think part of it comes with your perspective, because like if you're like me, where like you have to work if you're like myself or Ben Walters or several other people where you have to work a full-time job and go to college and if you can have what is like the typical college experience where like you live in a dorm fucking far away from your parents and everything's paid for already, then like I've noticed those people typically have nicer things to say about college than people like Ben and I who have to work full-time and go to school and have...
Oh my god, I remember, oh man, when I moved out to LA, I look back and I'm just like, how did I not freaking kill myself, like commit suicide or something, because, like, let me put you guys in my perspective, okay? I was taking online classes, but I was a full-time college student. I was taking 5 college classes. So I was taking 5 college classes while balancing a move from moving across the country. Now, this move isn't just moving, okay? I went from literally having no bills besides my car insurance to being fully financially independent, no longer having my parents there, me living by myself once again across the country, being a full-time college student, and taking on a brand new full-time job that was more than a full-time job, because I was probably working about 60, 70 hours a week. And I had to do that for about 3 months until I finished the semester. Beyond freaking hell. Like,
no, yeah, like I remember like when I was working at my grandfather's, like fucking wake up 7 a.m, get to work at 9, work until 2:30, 3 in the afternoon, take the bus up to TMCC, class starts at like 3:34, class break, class, go home, do my online class, work on whatever I gotta work on for TGA, sleep. It's just fucking horrible.
That just brought up something that I want to say. If you're going to go into college and you're going to study something that's likely to be very difficult, engineering is always a good one. If you're going to be an engineer, be prepared that you're probably going to go through some of the most stressful times in your entire life thus far. And if you're good at handling stress, that's great. But college makes you it can make you a very, very busy person, especially if you're an engineer. And some people too much for them. They switch to a different major, and heck, worst case, they drop out because they're burnt out. They're so tired. They can't do it anymore because freaking when you are up until like 2 a.m, pounding your head against the wall, figuring out why your program doesn't work. And let's be honest, when you're in computer science, you'll get those a lot.
I can imagine, like, see, that's something where, like, for example, like, if you guys don't know, my full-time job right now, I'm a senior producer with an app company. We make the official apps for a lot of colleges for sports, like USC, ASU, Boise State, all that stuff. And we have developers, and I manage them. And it's just, like, we have, sometimes we're, like, testing, and, like, part of the app will crash, or a certain function doesn't work, and, like, I just can't even imagine having to go through however many lines of code there is to find one little freaking mistake. It's just, now, I mean, the nice thing about how, and this is getting into like app programming with iOS, and I learned this based off my job, is Apple makes it very nice, the fact that you use Xcode to program your apps, and it will pretty much tell you, you can like run a diagnostic, and it will kind of search through the code automatically and find anything that would cause the app to crash, which makes it really, very, like, really, really clean. But when you're programming, you usually don't have that luxury. That's just something that Apple provides with iOS. So it's like, I can't even imagine, like, just being stuck looking at lines of code, which I think if I looked at lines of code for too long, I think everything would look the same to me anyways. But trying to find one little mistake out of, like I said, I mean, if you're writing, like, depends what you're doing. Like, if you're doing, like, a full-out software application, like, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of lines, like, possibly hundreds of thousands of lines of code, and I'm just like, what? Not for me.
So let me discuss with you. So Anthony is a science.
I love managing them. Don't get me wrong, because then my job responsibility is working with the clients, seeing what we need to do, me kind of analyzing how we can achieve it, and then speaking with the developers to make it happen. I love doing that. But it's like I give them the task, and they take care of all that development stuff. That's just completely out of my realm.
Anthony gave you a taste of more of a math science major. I'll give you a taste of a liberal arts one. All right, so you know in high school, like twice a semester, you had to write a 10-page paper?
Yeah.
Imagine doing that like every week.
Oh, yeah.
Like every fucking week. It's either that or a test. I had a test every week in journalism, 101. And in 107, it was a project, typically. Or a paper.
Yeah, so that's like something that's gonna... I can't really speak for other majors. But if you're gonna be an engineer, man, you're gonna have some really long nights. And you're probably gonna get burnt out. And you probably have to slow yourself down. You might have to take fewer credits, and you may have to graduate later than some other people because, you know... For your degree, right? But you might end up taking 4.5 years. You may take 5 years.
Right? Here's the thing. Like I said, journalism, it's all depend on, like, well, a lot of it's research. So it's really good, like, how you do those papers is going to be dependent on how well you do your research and how well you write and write quickly. Because I could bang out a 5-page, 6-page, 7-page paper overnight, fueled on nothing but Mountain Dew and fucking fear of failure. But not.
You'll be amazed. Fear of failing is a pretty strong motivator as to why many people stay up really late.
No joke. That's why, like part of college, like I've always been like, when it comes to like the website and a lot of things, I'm not that big at procrastinating. But when it comes to schoolwork, like even with my job now, I hate having stuff like piled to the last minute. I try to get done as soon as possible. But schoolwork, I was always a procrastinator, and it's just like I always perform better under pressure. So it's like wait to the very last minute to where, hey, I have to write this 20-page paper, and I have just tonight to do it. Then I'm like, shit, well, I've got no choice. I have to do it tonight. So That's how I usually function. So, yeah, I'll just
I will say
a few Red Bulls and staying up all night and getting it done.
I will say the one time in college where I just said fuck it and didn't care is when I had a sinus infection. It's like, you have to get this assignment into me by Monday. I don't care, and it's worth a lot of points. And I'm like, fuck it, no. I literally, like, it hurts. Like, being alive hurts. So no. Yeah.
And
I took the hit on my grade. I was like, fuck it. I have an A right now anyway. I'm gonna fucking just sleep it off.
Yeah, so prepare to face potentially some of the most stressful years that you've ever experienced thus far. Especially if your major is hard. I guess medical is going to be one of them. Engineering, yeah, that's the likely. You're going to be very busy. You're going to be very tired, and you're going to be very burnt out. You're going to find that you don't have that much time in the world, and you're going to realize, oh yeah, you're going to learn a lot of things. Like it makes you like, if you thought high school was hard, college will teach you a lesson about that. Okay.
Yeah, high school's nothing.
Once again, on the liberal arts side of things, it's literally all about how well you can write and write well fast. That's
so. Like in computer science, you're gonna have like many long nights where you can't figure something out, and you got to go on the internet and figure it out. But because computer programs are so diverse, it's not like with fixing a computer where there's like, do this is this, done, checklist done, easy. Computers, ooh man, I've had an entire computer program just implode on me just because I mistyped one character. One character was all it took for an entire program to completely crash. That's all it took. And it took me hours to hunt that thing down, and it wasn't until the next morning when I finally found it. It was because I was typing like /0 instead. I was typing /n instead of /0, and that was what caused my whole program to blow up.
So, here's I guess. How would I put this? Fun fact for journalism majors, or just if you're taking any classes in it. When they say a certain word count, do not go over that, because they will mark you down. And the reason that is because when a paper gives you a 700 word piece, that means 700 words, roughly. You're allowed a little wiggle room, obviously, and that is why. So that was really obnoxious when I came in with this 3, 4, 5 page paper, and it's like, yo, no, stop it. Yeah.
So everyone's experiences is different. Now, would you say that my experience is like what they always advertise on the front website of every college about smiling students loving the college life while enjoying Greek life and having a good time and loving the campus community? Did I have that? No, because that's kind of more like the experience that an out-of-state student would probably have.
Or like my friend Marina, like I just said, like that's the exact experience she fucking had in college.
Yeah, and
most people usually those people that are living on campus.
Yeah, like living on campus, they're part of the student government, stuff like that. But the thing is that do most people experience that? I can't say, but I didn't. Because I live locally. So it's kind of like, man, Reno is such a beautiful city. And I'm like, I already kind of know that in a way because I've lived here my whole life. I already know that. I already know what Reno has to offer. I know Lake Tahoe exists, and I know that Lake Tahoe is absolutely gorgeous, and I love seeing it the few times I do go up there.
We need to go there again this summer. Anyway, guys, I think we should close it up.
Basically, okay, so to close it up, advice I would give: definitely know what you're doing. Definitely know what the future of that career path you're choosing, and be prepared to be very busy and very stressed. Like the thing that I've learned is that you can't do college if you have a full-time job.
But you can,
but you're gonna die and feel burned out doing so.
Trust me, I've done it. I've done full-time job, full-time student, moving, and PGA all at the same time. But you can ask Anthony and Bronson that those first couple months I moved out here, I was like completely.
And let me tell you this. Here's another thing I forgot to mention. The first year or two are actually the easiest years because it's like core humanities. Well, they have to make core humanities easy enough that just about anybody in the university can pass it if they try. Same with microeconomics and like those core humanities, those basic classes. The people need to be able to pass them. Now I don't know about calculus, but that's a different story. But those are like the easy years, like the first year or two. And once you get deep into your major, oh man, it can get hard. It can get really hard, and that's gonna really test whether you have the diligence persona. Diligence.
I would say do not be afraid of liberal arts majors. They're fucking easy. I know so many liberal arts majors who
in the case of an engineer then.
Yeah,
your first couple years isn't going to be too bad. Like, for example, in Computer Science 1 and Computer Science 2, here's how you learn how to program in C++. Here's what a function does. Here's how you import libraries. And here's how you write a main function. And here's how you don't use global variables. Don't use global variables. That's big no-no. Or so I'm taught. And, you learn how to code. But then you get into 300 and 400 level classes. Software engineering. Automaton formal languages, mathematics of computer science, computer architecture. Like, if that sounds complicated, it kind of usually is. And you're gonna get really tired. Yeah. So that's basically it. So know what you're doing. Research into it, and be prepared to be very tired.
I guess my advice would be take the break and evaluate. Do you need to go to college for what you're doing? If so, do you really want to do that? And then evaluate what college you want to go to and how much money you're gonna spend. Because
here's the thing, though. Sometimes community college is a great thing. Other times, it's good to stay in state. Because here's the thing. Out-of-state tuition financially can hurt.
Oh, yeah, that's why you go
really,
to an in-state
really
hard.
Like,
if you wanted to say, let's say you're in Reno, Nevada. God forbid someone put that curse on you. I talk so much shit about this town.
The place isn't that bad.
I think anyone who listens to this podcast, I don't think they'll ever see Reno in their life. I bet, the mayor of Reno.
Nick, we can't really hear you.
Anyway, what I was saying, it is significant. No matter what your major is, it is so much significantly cheaper to go to TMCC your first 2 years. It saves you so much money.
Okay, I don't know about that because I didn't go.
Especially if your family is PO, like mine, because then your FAFSA literally pays for everything at a community college instead of just tuition.
Yeah, that was the one thing when I went to community college. With FAFSA, I mean, you really have to be in a tight situation for them to approve you for that.
Well, see, my mom, single mother, and and that I'm just glad they don't count my grandparents because my grandfather is loaded. But he won't pay for my education, damn it. Anyway, so I guess that's it, guys. YouTube, we're on YouTube, we're on iTunes, all that good shit.
Yeah, check us out. Tell your friends. Tell everyone. We definitely appreciate it.
I'm probably gonna be live streaming. So this goes live Friday, right, Anthony?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I'll probably be live streaming Saturday and Sunday on the TGA Twitch. So if you are there, Come watch me play video games. I don't know. Yeah. That's it. Bye. Go away.
Damn, he closed it out real quick. He's like, okay, there, bye.
Well, it's freaking 1:30 in the morning.
It is 1:30. We
have nearly 4 hours of this podcast.
Fuck.
Yeah, so we doubled the J Sway. So
the Super J Sway certification. Woo.
Yeah, you guys have a long podcast to last you guys a week. So
I mean, to be honest, though, it's more like a 3 hour, 2.5 hour podcast if you cut out the college BS.
Yeah. Well, we were asked.
I think we went on a long time with college.
Yeah, that's probably a good 45 minutes to an hour. But all right, guys. Thank you guys for listening. We will be at E3, so look forward to us there. If there's anything specific you'd like to see us do at E3, let us know in the comment section. And I can't promise everything's possible, but if it's possible, we'll definitely do it.
We're gonna do some type of eating challenge. I just don't know what one yet.
Yeah. So
yeah. Apparently, like we all have some. Like we name a food, and we just come up with some problem with the food. Like I can't eat too much sugar at once.
Can we do steaks?
Steaks are fine, but steaks are expensive.
Steaks I will destroy. I have on my sky deck we have.
Bronson, let's get some fish.
Oh, I hate fish.
That would, dude. No, have you ever overate fish? Like, have you ever had?
Don't worry, guys. We'll be doing this. We'll be doing this after the last day of E3. So if half of us or all of us get extremely sick, it won't affect E3 coverage. Don't worry about it.
I'm not sure if you've ever thrown up sushi, but it is horrible.
Oh, gross. I don't like sushi, so I can only imagine. But
well, I'm not saying sushi fish, more like...
Before we go on for another hour, let's go ahead and close out this episode of Unscripted Access. Thank you guys for listening. We'll be back next week. I think we have 2 more episodes left after this. We won't have Unscripted Access on Wednesday of E3 week, but once we have our final plans put together for E3, we're going to have a ton of coverage. So we'll definitely have Unscripted Access before. That'll be like our pre-E3 show. We're just go out full out, company by company. We're going to give our predictions. And then we're definitely going to have a show afterwards that we might actually film in person, on video. We'll figure all that out once you guys know.
I know it's not unscripted, but the Gamecast will be returning for E3 because Kyrie, Bremen, Anthony, and I in the hotel room will be recording every night.
You say that, but we'll be too tired to do it every night.
No, we'll do it every night. I'm just not sure the quality is going to be very good every night.
I think we'll be too tired to do it.
We'll see. I'm going to push for it.
We will keep you guys all updated on all that. We have quite a few interviews lining up, so definitely look forward to that. And yeah, it's going to be a great show. So looking forward to covering it, and I'm looking forward to the full staff finally being out here. I've already met Bronson and Anthony. I've met Bronson several times now. I've met Anthony once at CES, so it'd be nice to meet Kyrie and Bremen. And
can I just say, when I met you I just love to talk tonight. When I met you for the first time, I was like, oh my goodness, Nick is tall. That's what I thought. Because it's like, I knew you were taller, but I just didn't realize you were that much taller.
That's what everyone says, because on my video, on my show, I'm shot from the hips up, so you can't really gauge how tall I am. So when I tell people that I'm 6'2", they're like, okay, yeah, he's tall. But when they see me, they realize I'm not lying. When I say I'm 6'2", I'm 6'2". I'm a tall guy. So what's made at these shows, it's awesome because I can just look over everyone. Everyone's trying to figure out where to go, and I can just see over everyone. It's so awesome. But cool. Yeah, I think we need to close it out because I have a feeling we'll just keep rambling if we don't just close it off. So, and I can hear Jay Sway now. Jay Sway is like, no, keep going. But we gotta close it out.
5-hour podcast.
Oh man,
we gotta close it out, man. It's past 1:30 in the morning, and I know I have to wake up early for work tomorrow.
I have fucking work tomorrow.
Yeah, so thank you guys for listening. We will be back next week. We are out.
Bye.